Good afternoon, hello, and a happy Friday to you all. That's right, we're Team Red finally. I mean, it seemed fitting. Why have I not done a red theme already, considering like we are a full Team Red PC? So we fixed that. But yes, hopefully you're having a good Friday. Hopefully the weekend is about to welcome you with a happy smile on its face and not too much to despair about. I am here to make that transition a little bit smoother, a little bit more enjoyable, because we are going to be covering the opening games of Midweek Muster number 12. That's right. New map added in. You saw a little bit of it yesterday. Oasis, a really fun one, actually, from what we were seeing. It was actually the Highview game that made me lose my mind. And we've got a lot of returning faces here. Kiljadi's actually back in the runnings again. One or two players have taken a break. So yeah, we do have a few slots open. Reminder to people next time, make sure you're signing up. You could have potentially put Doom out on his ass in the round of 32. You could have been the chosen one. There was only one way to find out, though. It was to sign up and participate. So, that in mind, opening series, got a fun one in mind. Should be actually one of our tighter ones in terms of matchups. We're opening up with Dragavan versus Starfuck, which I'm now looking for their draft because they are technically 5 minutes late. Unless I'm an idiot. No, I'm definitely not an idiot. They were scheduled to begin a few minutes ago, so gonna keep an eye out for that. If that doesn't come up, we do have a few other opportunities. Things like Numidan versus Red Darksider should be available. And I think we're getting more scheduled in as we speak. So Scatterbrain series should be available. Mia Micah as well. I know Lash is going to be playing today against Deniskia. So there's a few ones coming up that we should be able to sink our teeth into. Big shout out to Hussein, who, instead of just actually having to run into B time and time again, has decided to try and take on a different 3D clan member. Maybe a potentially more lethal one. Still waiting for him? Goddamn kids. They're always late. I'm going to mark him up in the register and just outrageous. So, presumably we're going to have to wait a little bit for Dragavan. Oh, I think Dragavan is... I see the problem here. Classic I'm already in game moment. Look at this guy. Like, you guys ready? Look, see what I'm having to deal with? This crap right here. So I guess while we wait a sec, we can fast forward for his game because he should be drafting rounds. Oh, it's turned the heating off as well. Bloody toasted. Another week of KP's mental madness, dude. I tell you, that Highview game was doing a number on me. Like I was like, originally because yesterday the stream was going to be over before 4 hours after having a semi-finals and a grand finals. I'm like, man, this is kind of underwhelming. Let's organize an impromptu show match between the third place people to try out the new map. And you know, Oasis was pretty cool. What wasn't so cool was the goddamn Highview game that just felt like a giant waste of time. Like, I'm not sure if we actually got more people to tune in or scared more people away with that particular game. So yeah, for those wondering, we're watching this game because afterwards, Dragavan is going to start drafting again. Starfuck. Next night, dude, wait up. Next night. Oh. Fine, elephants. Ugh. Why do you always want neckties when it makes no sense? This is like fashionably criminal, you know? What you guys are making me do. Despicably. But it is at least a red tie. Wait, no, we can do better. Screw this type of tie. What we need is red one. This one? Can't be Team Red without a team tie. Ugh. Alright, so slow us down a little bit so you guys can track what the hell is happening. Dragavan, dude, Dragavan is obsessed with 2TC French. You guys noticed that yet? I feel like every time we cast him, when he plays French, there's a second down center. The guy's obsessed. So, you might be wondering what the hell's happened in this game. Looks like, I'm assuming Aeolus just tried to raid him to death, but that didn't actually work out against French. And now you've just basically got him skipping on the issue of Magadai by going mass lombos and walling up. So yeah, Aeolus taking like a pretty interesting approach here. I mean, Magadai in theory pretty good on this map. Can be a little bit dicey against the Knights just because the Knights don't really take any damage and they do tend to get close on you pretty fast with charge. So, yeah. A little bit surprised that he's actually gone this hard in the cavalry, but in some ways it makes sense. Like, honestly, when you're up against French Knights, potentially, I guess you just forced in a situation where you can't... You think you're benefiting from playing, like, static and lockdown with Spim and Archers, etc. But, like, the reality is you can't then mirror the raids. You always get caught out. Oh, good. I've been joined by Vic. Hey, mate. Okay, so, reminder, after this game is done, we'll be able to hop into Dragonman vs. Starflock. So I figured we watch it while we waited, and then we can just hop across afterwards. Sorry, my head's in the way, isn't it? I could have sworn I created a different scene to avoid that problem. I'll have to go find it. I think I got stuck, like lost in the imports when I was switching PC. So, oh, and let me go ahead and do this to you guys. Look at that, you're part of it now. So, I don't really see Aeolus's grand plan to win here right now. I got the idea earlier, but once the walls went up and we started Keshi castling, like, the plan went out the window, right? And we're not really seeing a pivot from him since. He's just playing raw Keshi spam. Problem is, Dragovan, ironically playing full infantry as French and letting your opponent play full cav is a good thing here. There's not really much that Aeolus can do to break in. He needs to actually age up instead. Because trying to take a direct fight without an age up here just doesn't feel feasible, right? I don't think the Magadai have enough punch in them to take this type of engagement. And we've seen how easily spears can discard Keshiks, right? Kind of feels like if Aeolus had a choice, you know, with the upcoming stationary fight that seems likely here, he would have traded all the Magadai for mass archers at the same price. Walls? What? Wait, hold on a sec. Alright, I might have spoke too soon. I assume Dragovan actually just completed the wall right next to the TC. Bit obnoxious not to, actually. Reinforcements are starting to arrive, and yes, mate, I know. The way Ezra is speaking right now. I don't know, man, this doesn't seem like that was worth it, really. For the amount of Keshiks, Magadai that got killed, I think killed like, what, one, maybe two knights, a few spearmen. Dude, Dragovan, what is this comp? It's a very funky one, I'll give him that. So take out complete on the other side for Aeolus. We'll go back to 4x speed. I mean, Dragovan could just end the game. Like, his army is so big, the Magadai are so irrelevant. The Keshik's the only real threat here. It's safer for Drag to just age up and get Vet Spearman, to be honest with you. Then again, like, his opponent does have a trade route, which if he intercepts, he can just kind of shut him down. And this is quite a bit of trade, actually. 18 traders, and it wasn't a silver tree, by the way. So we had to move in. New wall, let's give you a rotation south side. So actually, Dragovan a bit greedy, splitting up his troops like this. And that is a lot of villagers to build the wall, good lord. Yeah, 18 to get that wall up, so he does have the layer of protection. Aeolus, however, is scaling a lot of Keshiks. I think Dragovan just needs to get up in age right now. He's wasting a lot of time here. He has got the gold gathering coming in, right? So killed with 30. He understands how important it is. And these spearmen are just such a nuisance, though. Like, it's kind of weird when you try to play Keshik straight afterwards like this into mass, like, spearmen. Because usually you'd have, like, an army of archers. And archers, with their bonus damage, they tend to be very cost-efficient traders into spears. Magadai is a bit weirder. You'd think because of the attack speed, the rampant, like, damage into unarmored units to be good. Downside is, like, what you're paying, right? Like, you're going for, like, a comparative DPS to a normal archer. But you're paying basically double, right? So, like, just imagine this army right now if he had instead 24, 25 archers. Seems a lot more scary. Now with lack of breakthrough, man, we're just going to actually see Dragovan being able to scale up now into the better comps. Aeolus needs an entry point here. We're going to rapid fire at the 4x speed just because I want to be ready for when these lads are finished and good to draft. Core He's nicely parked here, man, but he needs to get through the wall fast. Knights coming in, Spimmin as well. This is good if Aeolus can just actually brute force him now, and he's going to go for the right clicks. Jump straight in. The archers are trying to trade out against the Magadai, but the Kurotai buff is going to be there. Dragovan, he needs to get more production pumping right now. This is his really big weakness here. I think the problem for Aeolus, though, is he should have went deeper already. I mean, the Magadai on these farms would have just turned this game around. He gets bogged down here, though. I'm not really sure what the grand plan is. He seems more focused on just beating the army before it can produce. Dangerous game, but in fairness to him, it seems to be working. I mean, Dragovan needs to basically choose something to discard and something to defend, right? Like, hold some troops back so you have a wave to work with while throwing something to the dogs. Right now, he's failing to do that. He's pretty much just trickling to his death. Unless he is missing that Kurotai buff now, has to back away. And yes, we are going live. We are literally waiting for Dragovan's game here to finish so that he can play his competitive series against Starflag. And this one might actually haunt him because, weirdly enough, due to, I think, just a raw lack of production more than anything else, Dragavan is losing this game right now. If he can get enough Arbor trade together, it really does turn things around, but it seems tricky to do right now. Maybe Men at Arms plus Arbor could be the way. All right, gives you something tanky enough. Magadai just don't outright kill you. I just love the way the Kurotai snugly slots in there like, yep, belonged here all along. Just part of the scenery, baby. Okay, so Dragovan has stabilized, actually. The crossbow count is starting to go up a bit. Aeolus has to keep diving here. He can't slow down now. This is what I was worried about. Is like, you know, a little bit of break happens and then the Arbor look good, but where's the Pavis? Kind sir, there is one button that would instantly win you these fights, and you are not using it right now. Outpost should be enough to scare him away, at least. And Ezra's having to say about this as well. He's not happy. He's like, yeah, I'm like a 4-month-old baby. I would have pressed the Q button for Pavis. Oh, Dragovan. Getting sassed by a 4-month baby. Okay, so equal on count now. Why do we have Drag? No, Dragovan, don't do this. Not the Springolds, not this crap. I mean, this is not the comp for it. I guess you could argue in theory against Magadai, they're low HP, but like you're not getting bonus damage. There's no infantry. It's also a comp that isn't necessarily going to clump up often. I guess he's just like kind of desperate to pump as much as he can, but I don't know. Just build additional production bonus instead of building siege workshops. You had too much wood? More archer ranges, maybe? I don't know. Maybe even I don't want to say a mango, but maybe. So Dragovan, like, the weird part is now obviously Pavising would be harder. The quick wall. He traps him, but he's still got extra waves coming in. Yeah, the problem I see here, right, is like there was a critical fight moment here where if Dragovan had been Pavising, I think Aeolus would have lost way too many Magadai. He's been strong and kind of scrambled together what he needs to defend, but in fairness now, with 16 up the tree, 14 Spearmen, I think this is the point where Aeolus is going to struggle. He's just raw Magadaiing, but the problem is he's not using them properly, right? He's A-clicking walls with them, instead of just going into the farms and permanently keeping the economy pinned. And remember, while all this has been going on, that guild hall has been ticking. Dragovan has a lot of gold to work with still. Kurotai also gets pinned. Oh, man, I can't help but feel like Aeolus, he looked like he just had this. And then instead of just continuing to dive into the economy with Magadai, which is genuinely the #1 thing you want to be doing with them, he got bogged down diving a TC and killing the army all the time. Kaganet is now coming, but you can already see what Dragovan's going to do here, right? Guildhall has 2,300 resources in it. He's got enough food income that he could easily mirror this tech play. Crazy thing is, you think of Aeolus' type of food income, he'd just be able to have a second wave of Magadai waiting, right, while he dives in, but again, no Pavis. I mean, the crazy thing is, I can understand if you're at least kiting, but when you look at these fights, you can very clearly see that Dragovan is just standing still a lot of the time. It's really not efficient trading on either side, but Dragovan is at least surviving long enough while doing some chip damage on the flanks, right? So we'll go for the tech up now. Tech up that will allow him to get into the crossbow stirrups. That's the thing he's been missing, right? Once stirrups are online, these fights are going to look pretty brutal, considering that even without Pavis, currently he's been, let's say, decently trading into the problem. I believe the lads have drafted, so we're going to stick on the 2x speed, just so, I mean, at this stage, we might as well see the conclusion, right? Dry Arabia. Wilderness getting picked again is interesting, actually. People aren't sick of it, I guess. Definitely an interesting map. Alright, ones if you think Aeolus is going to win this, twos if you think Dragovan's going to take it. Because, like, Dragovan has not rewarded his base. come on. Of all the ways for this to go down, surely not. I mean, Dragoman is bailing with most of his economy. It's going to be an attempt to break through the walls. He will work as well. The Magadar on top of him here. Don't even want to know how long this game ends up actually being. We have got a dive coming in, so it looks like Dragoman is trying to force the matter back at home away from Aeolus's Magadai. Hankanese are coming out, but there's already a lot of arbitrary here, and the Springolds! Oh! The damage there! Aeolus almost losing 30 villages because of that. All right, we do have the Horseman now coming out. That should reset things. Hankanese as well. In Dragoman, his comp looks a little bit budgeted here. You have cannon places now to try and deal with these Magadai raids. I mean, dude, they're everywhere. And remember, it's Karganet, so he just has a lot of extra crap being thrown across the map. Usually of the cavalry variety. He also now has Sweepy Powers to deal with the Red Palace. So arbitrary have been mopped up in his base. We're going to go back to the 4x, make that 8x speed. And we should be having the Trebs moving up now. So yeah, the Sweepy Powers arrived. Siege Workshop's being added in. Red Palace to be directly contested. A little bit dangerous from Aeolus. I don't think his comp is like fully online to go for the direct fight yet, although the hand cannon count is blowing fast. Dragoman, there is a small window here where you can strike beforehand, but he doesn't actually have incendiary arrows. What? Spearman should be able to brute force this. The Horseman not able to hold on long enough. Aeolus needing to get a bit more production going. Has got his own Spearman coming through now. We are seeing Knights added in by Dragovan. The Crossbow Stirrups is finally getting added through, but it may be a little bit late here. He's burning a lot of troopers. He doesn't have insane amounts of gold left to work with. He's got 1.4k up here, and that's it. Guildhall is up to 2.6k again, though. So where there's a will, there's a way when you play de Francais. Ezra is very unhappy. He's like, how has this game not been won by either one of them yet? Don't know if you guys can actually hear him. I feel like Aeolus should win this game now. Like, it's mass Hankanese, right? It's Mongol trade. If Dragovan had 40 knights, different matter, right? But, like, Dragovan's got a pretty cheap comp here, going Arbor plus Spear. I can see where he's coming from, the logic of it, but it seems like unless he can break that trade route, it's not going to come together. All right, Castle does go up. We've just got more stable play here. So I guess Dragovan wants to raid the economy. And what's wrong, Ezra? Oh. I swear to God, if Emma literally palmed him off to go pick up Freya, and he's due a feed, it's happening again every single time. Can you just, like, be hungry at a different hour? I don't think he's agreeing with me. All right, can this hurry up? We've got a series to start. I mean, Dragovan has bloated a lot of military here, right? Bombars are starting to move in, though. It's a lot of hand cannoneers. He has to get around the back straight away. Instead, he A-clicks the front of the fight. Arbitrary trying to carry this. We are 49 minutes into the game, and finally, Incendiary Arrows is on the way. This took quite a long time, actually. I was kind of shocked it took this long. Maybe Dragovan just didn't have the gold, or maybe it just kind of skipped his mind, right? That does sometimes happen in these situations. Adjustable crossbars is on the way. In theory, that's your game winner if you can hold as you push. As we do have a lot of horsemen coming from Drag. Yeah, we're legit going to have to go, like, 8x speed here. Because the lads are getting ready to begin. Because they've completed their draft now. Sorry to those who feel disoriented. But I presume you want to see the Midweek Muster Series. If Aeolus starts spamming cannon placements, right? And he does have small amounts of stone being pocketed. It's only 4 away. But it does add up over time. Like, we're 53 minutes in, right? It's been in Imperial for, like, what, 20 minutes? And if he can just get some cannon placements together to assist him from the side, he's going to get very difficult for Dragovan. And I think he's broken. Yep. That looks like a man that's cracking. He immediately queues up 27 Royal Knights. That right there was the Guildhall pull. They've been holding on to that for quite a long time. Exponentially more monsters starting to spawn from 1 hour on. Dude, we should just have like random orbital bombardments after an hour mark in the game, you know? The map should shrink. All these ideas. So, Fort Keeper's been dropped. Elite Army Tactics now coming in for Dragon. Biology is already there for Aeolus. I think he's got pretty much all the scaling he's going to get. So we are going to get a fight coming in. His own building's kind of getting in the way of him here, but the hand cannons are overextended. The mangoes can't be protected. The napalm may have just wiped the main army. However, Aeolus does have that extra wave coming in. This is kind of the ludicrousness of like pre-prepping your next wave, right? When you have them all queued up, that you can do this so efficiently. The amount of extra crap that was immediately running across the field is usually what makes it so difficult to win a fight and then go and win the game. We have Reboldequins now. Dragovan is just scraping the bottom of the barrel looking for any solution here. We have got the wee pals plus the trebuchets dealing with red pals. That is going to be down. Raids coming in on the north side. It's a lot of outposts to get through, and a lot of them do have cannon placements, though. Yeah, and Dragovan seems to be out of gold. Like, this should be the conclusion point, right? He's only got 1,000 gold in the guild hall. He's out of arbitrary. We done it. We got ready for the match we actually came for. This was just us waiting for Dragovan to finish his goddamn game so that he can go up against Starflat. But that is now ready to commence. So, apologies, folks. That's why we were going for the 4x speed, the 8x speed, everything else. No college, no win. True. The Royal Reboldequins was what was missing. It's a tough one to lose. Yeah, I feel like there was maybe opportunities for both of them to end earlier. Kind of feels like Drag should have been able to go in an early phase, and then I think genuinely the Maggot Eye spam should have just killed everything, but didn't keep going to the farms. It's very weird. Anyway, you guys ready? Oh, what's that? Oh, yeah. Quick, everyone put bracket subscribed to that comment that just got dropped. Anytime someone mentions ads, you know what you got to do, guys. Remind them to subscribe. Alright, there we go. Gambit set up. I think everything else is rolling along smoothly. New week, and this map is a treat. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel, to the Midweek Musters. It's time for week number 12, where we have a new map appearing for the first time ever in competitive AoE 4. It's Oases. Not Oasis, a different map. Oases is a pretty cool map, actually, created by Avali, who has already featured a few different times in these weeklies. So we've got these small ponds scattered around the map that you can play into. There's fish there, there's berries, and a cool little detail here, folks. Although there's a lot of trees, you don't have to chop through them to build here. You can actually just build and replace them. So you can pretty much run out and drop a mill here straight away if you wanted to. Curious to see how players can start leveraging this. So far, we've seen a lot of players being paranoid about going out for these ponds. Dragovan, what is this? We've got a Dark Age Rax opening from the Abbasids. Now, Dragovan is a bit of a prolific Abbasid spammer. He has, some people might call them cheesy ideas, and we might be about to see one of them. On the other side, Starflag on the Byzantines. It's an interesting idea to try and rush Biz. I don't think it works, though. The gold gathering is going to be a little bit too quick with the system placement. In theory, you could block them from getting on the berries, but unless you're going to pull a villager to build a tower, I'm not entirely sure of the plan here. Sorry, we might have a baby moan in the background. Ezra's not happy. Oh. Ezra. What? Why do you wait until Daddy starts casting the actual tournament game to be whiny, huh? Guys, children, there's something else. It's Ezra Cam. Hey, baby. You gonna watch the games? Yeah, so this double spear opening, a little bit confused on what the goal was in Dragvan's mind here. Maybe it's to try and bait attention at home so he can do maybe one of his proxy rack shenanigans. It's possibly he's looking for a reaction to it so he can go for his own greed. Because your ambassadors, right? Like Eco Wing does seem kind of tempting, although in fairness, with the last nerfs we saw to Eco Wing, its popularity kind of just fell off almost entirely. Most people have gone back to doing Military Wing here. But Military Wing I don't think makes much sense with this particular opening. Because like if you're going to do Military Wing, you might as well rush the Feudal Age, you'll have 2 Spearmen then straight away, and then you go into Horsemen. Alright, how do you guys gamble as well? 71% for Dragavan. I've got to say I'm a little bit surprised by that. I know Dragavan has made a bit of a name for himself with his ambassadors, but Starflock has been looking like a pretty sound player. We saw in games against Dumu, he was able to contest him for the early mid game incredibly well. It was just the late game that hurt him more. And yeah, we have Culture Wing, so this is an FC build, right? Or is it the Pro Scouts? I mean, he hasn't dropped a mill, so I can't imagine it's going to be the Pro Scouts play here. Then again, he's got 3 on goal. He's already at 120. It has to be PES. So there's going to be Preservation and Knowledge for 100 resources into Pro Scouts, which is then going to save you 70 resources on the tech. And then when you rush Castle Age, you're going to be ending up saving a nice, healthy 270 resources on the tech up. Pretty sure that's what he's going for here. And in fairness, it's kind of worked. The fact that Starflock has reacted with an outpost means he's not entirely sure that Dragavan is done pressuring him here. Yeah, and he's going to kind of be facepalming himself when he comes around and sees, oh, it's a Culture Wing. So you weren't going to even follow this up. So, second system is going to be coming in. I mean, Starflock, now that he's scouted what's happened, I wonder if he just rushes Castle, per se. No, you're probably going to want to try to block the Pro Scouts. In theory, you could Pro Scout yourself as Byzantines, right? Like I've said, Byzantines aren't very good Pro Scouts, but I don't think Ambassadors are either, per se. They're not one of the upper class ones. So, when you're doing these lower tiers, it can be certainly viable, especially if you have the Dialecticus research speed. But I think considering the Grand Winery's there, he's already got the olive oil coming in, he's probably not going to bother. And my camera work may get a little bit shoddy because Ezra, who never likes to grab hands, is now not letting go of my finger. So I can't switch Fog of War or anything. Bless them. How much deer on the map? Practically none. There's only 12 deer, which is why I was weirded out by the idea of Pro Scouts. And I think I'm happily able to say it's not. Thank God. I mean, like, you get it discounted, right? Like, if you think about it, getting 12 deer home is still basically 4,000 food. Or if you want to be specific, 4,200 food. But yeah, like, it's probably not worth it. So I'm actually glad that he's skipping it altogether. Just, I think the thing that threw me off is the Spearman play, though, man. And the hilarity is Starflock didn't really take the bait. Look at what he's done. He's gone Keshik, despite the Spearman. Yeah, mate? What's up? You chill out now. You better off now, Ez. If I put you down, are you going to cry and whine and moan? Like someone who's on Reddit and has had way too many versus English games and are really annoyed. Maybe. Let's find out. Alright, hopefully he doesn't whine at me. So, likely Military Wing here, right? Especially now that you see your opponent's gone Keshiks. This could be a Sippy Cup game for Starflock. And there are less trees on the map? Yes. Sort of. It's weird. It's more like there's probably just as many trees, but because there's straggler trees and spread around, it's not as efficiently condensed. But overall, I quite like this map. I've already seen some positive opinions from the players about this map. I think they straight away loved the fact that they had a map that wasn't Pro Scouts friendly. My response to that was, what do you mean? We already had mountain clearing. You guys had a map that wasn't Pro Scouts friendly. Yeah, I'm glad we were able to find someone because I was a little bit concerned. I think most maps, the way they've been designed, they were designed at a time when Pro Scouts wasn't in every single game, right? And thus you had this misunderstanding of what you needed to design around, right? What you needed to be worried about. Fishing is worse than Pro Scouts? What are you on about? What, on these exposed ponds where you can contest people? You think that's really going to be worse than Pro Scouts? You think someone having to come out here and place a mill and gather 2 screens away from their home TC is more toxic than gathering deer underneath their TC? Pro Scouts can contest also? We've been over this multiple times. I feel like we've dug in this in details, but if you're trying to tell me that even if you argue that you can contest Pro Scouts, if you try to argue that you can contest Pro Scouts longer than you can contest someone out on a pond, I'm not sure we're watching the same games. Because remember, like, you know, there's no pro fishing. You can't come and pick these up and drag them back to base. They're stuck out in the middle of Danger Town. Ever heard what I've been suggesting? Oh, Pro Scouts, the most obvious thing is you slow the movement speed of Scouts when they're returning deer. Maybe increase the damage they take. So, System the first hill's coming in. We are indeed getting sippy cups. Camel's already out for Dragavan. Looks like we have got more cam. Wait, is this the mass camel rider strat? Okay, it just seems so weird that he began with spears, though, right? I mean, maybe he knew it had to be sippy cups in his mind. What's up? We do have to move out into fish from Starflock. Yeah, fish and the berries. This is the jackpot. So, once again, just going to really come back to the discussion chat, because this is important. You think that this is less contestable than, say, being here eating food. Just want you to really process that. Because this is a risk, right? Like, this is actually why I like the idea of shoreline fishing. I like it because when it's designed well, like, you know, for example, Frizzy Marshes kind of had this. When you have to come out on the map, it's a nice idea. It's actually well balanced. It's like the better gathering rate should be more dangerous. It's the logic behind boar, right? That's why we have boar in the middle of the map on most maps. So I'm a big fan of this one, man. I think Oasis makes it difficult. You know, we had Wilderness last week where you got one pond quite close to you. It was kind of a little bit too safe, maybe. This forces you to be present. Deer, you got to go out on the map. Okay, so I think you're missing the point, mate. If you don't think that this is out on the map, dog, your definition of in and out is very confusing. So we have got Gullums coming through from Drag as well. Wait, really? I'm a little bit surprised by the choice to go into Gullums here. You know it's a sippy cup strat. What's the thought process behind this? I mean, spears should be the most obvious thing in the world, right? He does manage to yoink one of the relics away. I think Dragavan, okay, so I get where he's coming from here. By going for the camel riders, his assumption is his opponent has to switch off of cavalry and will likely go spears. But, like, in practice, because it's a sippy cup build, I don't think that's entirely true. This means fight's going to be hard for him. It doesn't mean they're going to be impossible, per se. And yeah, okay, so we do have archers coming through. So the Gullum's going to have some value. I mean, realistically, you could have, like, filled in lancers here and had more raid potential. I guess it's a matter of the resources you have to work with, though. We do have camel handling coming in as well. And I have a very grumpy Ezra. You're right, mate. Don't necessarily agree, but I think he's saying that Pro Scouts are moving. I mean, if fishing is undiscovered, that to me, like, if fishing on this map you think is bad, that to me suggests that you need to scout better, right? Like, that's the failure to scout, quite simply. That's like saying, oh, it's stupid that this person who changed their comp is now beating me because I didn't scout it, you know? Like, you're basically saying you want the game to reward you for not looking. No? Just a little skirmish going on over here, by the way. The food gathering is still semi-safe. We have a second outpost coming in now. I mean, Dragvan, the problem here is, like, the Goldping is actually just slowly killing him, right? He has got a lot of camels, but these are now injured permanently, whereas these guys should be able to get fixed up. Wait, is he actually legit out of charges that quickly? So in theory, if Dragavan can keep forcing a fight, that's when Sippy Cups is counted, right? Just protect deer better. No, but like when you pull deer back to your TC, they are as protected as they're going to be in a game, right? Okay, do you want me to turn it into a statistical math game for you? Let's say you come out here for shoreline fish, right? That's 1,500 food. To protect this, let's say you need double outpost. Double outpost is still going to be less impactful than a TC, a starting TC. Double outpost is going to cost you 200 wood, and it's going to cost you idle time building, right? Still not going to be guaranteed to be safe there. You can still be pushed off. Now, by comparison, one deer stack for pro scouts can give you 2,450 food, right? Sorry, 2,400 food. Because you get 7 times 350. No, wait, I was right the first time, right? 2,450 food. Don't let them bring it for free. Okay, dude, you clearly... We've had metas like this before. It's like a 2TC meta. Do you remember the 2TC meta when people were like, just stop the TC, and it was impossible because of the timing? That's why TC's got nerfed. You remember when we had the Silver Tree trade trick? Where the counter was too expensive, so Mongols would just win all the time. Like, what you're describing there is just like, just counter it, lol, right? It's not viable. The problem isn't that Pro Scouts shouldn't be viable. The problem is that Pro Scouts is too good. And all statistics right now support that. Like, when you have every single game, bar maybe like 2% of competitive games revolving around Pro Scouts, you have a problem from a design, design position, right? Sorry, I keep getting interrupted by a rude baby. What? Just give me a look. Interesting walls from Dragavan. I love that he's utilizing the berries. Starflock kind of is playing a very risky game, right? If he ever like gives over territory, he doesn't have any protection, any walling at all. And what is happening? Starflock, there was like zero reaction to that. Practically all the villagers dead on the front line. Dragavan now ahead by 6, and the Camel Riders, well, he has got the extra armor on these bad boys. The Gulem's double strike is kind of underwhelming here. Oh no. I think the Camels have done it. Yeah, so the Golfers didn't really get any damage done, right? Like, they kind of survived the initial engagements, but we never really reached a stage where Starflock was attacking into his opponent's economy, I feel like. Like, it's almost like we spent the entire time watching Starflock try to defend his pond. Now, this game kind of feels like it's out of his hands. More Dragavan is going to be shuffling out for his own fishing and deer here, so we'll be able to inflate his eco. But still with enough army to keep on pushing in. That's ironic, so much the fighting's over fishing. I mean, it's a pocketed resource, right? Like, once again, this proves the point. Like, if he was sitting at home here gathering deer, like, how do you die with that compared to this? It's so much further away from you. It's so much more insulated. And this was to the extreme, right? Like, he didn't immediately get the mango tiles, which I think was probably Starflock's biggest, gravest error here. But he did at least pay for fortification. So he spent 400 resources to defend this location. And still couldn't hold it for a damn. And yeah, camels have been slept on for a long time. I definitely was a little bit questionable on whether this build was going to work, because I was expecting Limitan out sooner, but we mentioned Dragavan done a good job of like protecting himself with the Gulems. The more interesting part is just how the Cataphract Keshiks got bogged into the engagement. I think a big part of what made that happen is because Dragavan went for camel handling so quickly. Right? It basically turned him to horseman speed. So you can't out-rotate him. If you tried to go into his base, he's going to mirror the move. Admittedly not hit as hard as you would with a Cataphract, but there's going to be more of these bad boys. Just kill your own deers with a second scalp, direct them to one spot, and then wall them off with a 68 wood each. Alright, B, chill. Now, before anyone goes and uses this strategy that B has proposed to you, I want you to ask the question, B, why haven't you done this in your games yet? This is where he's like, because I wanted to keep it a secret to give to other people. What a good guy. You know what? I'll do you one better. Why don't you just why don't you just push the deer over to a relic, kill them on top of the relic, and then you wall in the relic and the deer. Boom. Even more value for 68 wood. Oh, Ed. Calm down. Always getting cranky. You don't like passive styles, that's why, but I don't understand why others who want a passive don't do that. I mean, like, my issue isn't that, you know, I want passive styles. I mean, if you watched any of my streams, you know I actually hate passive, uninteractive gameplay. I just think the problem with Pro Scouts, and feel free to disagree, B, and give you your opinion on that. I don't think Pro Scouts is reasonably counterable. I want Pro Scouts to be viable, but I don't want it to be like, by the time you're countered, you could have a whole deer stack home. That's just bad design, right? Like, that to me is comparative to the whole idea of the TC meta, where you couldn't stop someone from rushing a TC and dropping on deer. So the counter argument was like, well, just ram it down now. It's like, yeah, but the investment it now takes to ram that thing down is more than the TC. Right? And something I've highlighted before is like, if you counter Pro Scouts after they've taken the first deer stack, they've already got value out of Pro Scouts. Anyway, it's hilarious. Like, we have a game that doesn't even have Scouts happening in it, going for deer, because there's only 12 on the map. And we're still talking about Pro Scouts. But that's what happens when we bring up fishing. Dragonman now diving in. He actually has got spring odds. 2 of them, in fact, which is not a bad idea here. I mean, the Limitane will reduce the damage they take, but still going to take more due to the bonus damage. Assistant targeting is coming in as well. So Dragonman, we're going to just deny the extra economy of Starflark. A little bit brute forcey here. Dragovan, I thought he'd split up to look for the economy a bit. Seems to be maybe overly committed to attacking this one location. And with the Skrillers could just get the right shot here. They'd be hitting like 8 targets at once. Yeah, I agree, Ezra. These camels should be murdering villagers. Instead, they're wasting their time on golems. Gulp's coming through. Alright, yeah, the limits on it are kind of lasting a long time with the Gulps. Dragovan, did he just throw away the lead? I think he entirely threw away the lead. I mean, there's no second TC. He has actually killed more workers, in fairness, right? Like, it's still ahead by 11. But Dragovan just lost a lot of army. Yeah, Siege also to fall here. Mango goes down. Spring was dead. All right, in a game which looked like Starflight was pretty much done, he kind of feels mostly recovered here. How did Biz end up in the situation versus ABBA? He got camelled. The classic. He was very clearly going Sippy Cup build, and I think Dragon's idea to go Camel Riders is very smart here. I think it is like a game-winning play. It's just the execution of the last 2 minutes wasn't it, right? Instead of taking a methodical approach, doing more damage to the economy, slipping in where he could, adding a few Lancers to go for those ratings. He did admittedly add Lancers, but he decides to commit full-heartedly into the Byzantine base before it's over. Now we have a problem. He has at least got the walls to slow things down. The Starflark has a pretty big opening here because Dragovan has left himself open by going for 2 TC build now without having farms and being condensed. He has like, what, 2 farms total? You swear a high-end GPU only costs like $700? Well, I mean, it costs a lot more than that if you go for a certain brand. But yeah, you like, yeah, around that price actually. Like right now, I think for $800 you can get the 7900 XGX that I have. And this thing has been king of kings, man. It's been killing. Which like $800 for what I'm getting out of that GPU in today's market, I can't even believe it's that cheap. And you can max AOE4 graphics, yep, and have 144 frames and still be able to push 60 frames while also recording locally. Yep. I mean, I did bluntly state we have the best PC in the AOE4 directory, and I stand by that. Outpost defense now from Dragavan. We do have Springles coming in. Starflock's army is still bigger, but the static emplacements could be pretty important. Fortifications are following this up, and you have to remember, like, you know, these crossbows, it only takes 2 hits to kill them. Instead, though, he goes after the mangoes. Dragavan is at risk of frontlining with his villagers at this rate, though. Where's the quality to this army? I mean, he's got archers, got composite bows coming through, but somehow the guy who has access to golems is ironically losing to golems. What? And yeah, the idea of System providing a level 6 to the network was actually thrown around for like over a year at this point. I know myself and many other people have been talking about it for ages. Like, it just makes sense if you want to make the landmark good, that it should have some sort of permanent effect as well. Damn, Starflock, he's going to be going second TC, or at least tempting, gets caught by the one camel on the flank. I mean, Dragavan is going to survive this push. If he can get farms online, things start to turn around again. Remember, that's what's keeping Starflock going here. You got all those olive groves up, sitting currently at, what, 23? Oh yeah, did you guys see the recent comparisons on like the Nvidia 5080? There's a very interesting, I think it's Hardware Unboxed, the Australian channel. And they broke it down as like, when you look at the performance gains compared to previous generations, like you're basically, the 80 series from a value POV is like what you would have paid on previous generations for like a 60 to 70 series. It's crazy. I think, I gotta say though, like after my experiences with the 7900 XTX, I'm really excited for like in a year or two when we should probably be getting UDNA, which is the next platform for AMD GPUs. I think we'll have some serious competition, even the absolute highest end, right? Which like no one has bothered to compete with because, you know, like 90 range enthusiasts, it's crazy pricing. All right, I'll be real. We're 25 minutes in this game, and it's still really not apparent who's winning. We can focus a little bit more on the game. Apologies, the first half was me trying to deal with baby. But now that things are settling, like Starflock, I mean, the carry siphon idea is pretty cool. I don't know if it really works at this point, though. I'd focus more on the military. I feel like he's weakening his own hand here. He's got double mango to play with, and Dragavan has built a lot of archers, but if he takes a bit too long with this, the farms come in, Dragavan can just lob mass horsemen and go. That's true. Starflock is floating a lot of olive oil, but like in his defense, this is exactly my issue with Eastern Contract. What do you really want? Do you want Keshiks against camels? No. Do you want Golems when your opponent can have Golems, more of them, and just gonna have crossbows? No. Like everything that you can build here gets countered by crossbows. It's not until you get age 4 and get tower elephants that you have something that doesn't get countered by crossbows. So if Starflock wanted to go age 4 by say 30 minutes, I actually am kind of okay with a lot of olive oil sitting there, because it means you can immediately start queuing up elephants. What's the trade poster? Oh no, Faye. I mean, in fairness, on this map is a fair point. Sipahi or Arbitrary could be quite intriguing. Actually, Sipahi would be kind of goated. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's not a meme in this game. Legit, if he trade posted for Sipahi, he destroys everything. Probably a little bit paranoid his opponent might go back to camels, I guess. Why not take golems? Because your opponent already has a crap ton of crossbows. I legit think, like, if you plan to go Imperial in the next 2 or 3 minutes, it's better to just have those resources sitting there, so that when you hit Imperial, you're immediately queuing up 3 or 4 tower elephants. That's coming in. Wait, he just bails off of it. No, that had to be a control group issue. Like, every piece of siege was marching forward. Every bio unit was walking back. Waste of the mango straight away. Kyro siphons are also just going to get cleared up. Starflock. I don't think this is going his way right now. I mean, he's got a little bit of front line left over here. Yeah, so 7 Varangian, 11 Limitane. That was an expensive loss at the beginning for Starflock, though. In fairness, Dragoman, what the hell's happening with his food? He should be a lot higher than this. I tell you what, I'll hold my hands up. I'm doing a disservice to Gulp in these fights. The reason why he's not dying in those fights, legit, is Gulp on those Limitane. It's ridiculous that it's actually making that much of a difference. But considering the effective HP of this unit, 128 base HP, the range damage reduction, like, he's getting a lot of bang for buck out of those quick recharging Gulp charges. However, he now has to get through the spring order placements. Without mangoes, without rams. Do you ever get the feeling this is as far as he's going to get? There's no horseman left to take out the one mango, but one mangonel isn't going to pose a serious threat at this stage. Looks like instead, Starflock's going to be punting the whole army into the afterlife. And I think we're at an inflection point here, right? Where Dragoman's going to have more farms. He's up to 24 currently. Starflock is sitting at 26. This is where he should look to blob them. And the problem now is, like, there was an early phase in the game where if Starflock could hit the flanks, Dragoman would have been dead, right? Because he had all those exposed resources. We're officially past that point. We're now at the point where he's condensed down, he's got farms online. He survived the most uncomfortable phase in the game. And now, let's be quite frank about it, things are getting a little bit too weird. We did talk about this with Starflock, though, that he plays the early mid game really, really well. The late game can maybe get a little bit weird on him. I mean, Dragoman is funny as well because he stopped playing odd, I'd say, right? Like, that opening with Camel Rider spam is not exactly meta. Going mass archers in Castle Age for Abbasis can still be viable because of the composite bows. Obviously, usually looking at crossbows. But as we get deeper, he's kind of doing everything you'd expect. Getting more crossbows in, getting horsemen in. These are natural things people will do in their very long castle play. Especially when their opponents has been blobbing mass ranged on the back. Horseman raids are going to be coming through at least. Another mango. Where's the army? Wait, he's sending the whole army north. I feel like this is the type of game that Dragoman watches afterwards and goes, man, this guy was wide open. Why didn't I push? Right, we have God Vision. We know that Dragoman should have jumped on that, took out the mangoes, and gone into the farms. He didn't realize that Starflock had the whole army selected and going north. I mean, why would you ever expect your opponent to do that, right? It's a 5-horse raid. You maybe peel 5 Limitines to deal with that. You don't pull 50 army. You think Gulp should recharge faster if it's using an infantry unit? You did just watch the fights we watched, right? Like, there was an earlier fight that he shouldn't have won, but he won because of Gulp. So I'm not entirely sure it needs to be better than it currently is. Oh my god, but Drag now on his way into him. Starflock is trying to mirror it, but we do have some gold issues. The other issue I see in this game is Starflock's army is nowhere near big enough or scary enough to punish the age up, right? Like, sometimes when you make this type of investment, your opponent is to trigger the age up, sends it into your base. You can't do that here as Starflock. In fact, it's also particularly hard against Abbasids because unlike other civs, they've just got so much resource bank stocking up in that wave, right? Starflock is coming up for poke. In theory, you know, if he gets some walls up here, he can kind of kite around the next fight. Some questionable things have happened from both of these players on the walling on this game, though. Gulp is fine. The contracts need to be changed. Sure, like, I mean, I think Keshix and Sapahi could be switched. That would definitely be a buff to Byzantines. I don't know if people want to see a buff right now, but once we reach a point where Byzantines feel like they need a buff, I think the buff you make is switch Keshix for Sapahi. Because then you have a contract angle that doesn't all get countered by one unit. Like, I want you guys to just think about this for a second. When you go Eastern, everything gets countered by crossbows until you're in Imperial. When you go for the Western contract, you know, the things that counter Lombos aren't the things that counter Lanzknecht. And when you go for Silk Road, the things that counter the Javelins aren't really the things that counter the Camels. You could argue the soft counter of Spears counter everything in the Silk Road contract, but it's not everything in this contract gets countered by a hard counter, i.e. crossbows. The Foreign Engineering Company is now coming in. Yeah, and this... Okay, so this I have been very opinionated on. There is not a worse contract choice for Foreign Engineering Company. Oh god, more mass. Siege just going down. But like, just think about it for a second. What do you get out of this? You get the boot camp on Gulam, and you get step lances on Keshix. That's it, right? Compared to, for example, getting precision training on Javelins, getting the armor on Camels, or when you go Western, getting volley on your Lombos and marching drills and Lanzknecht, right? Like, you can't make an argument for it, right? The volley is the creme de la creme for Western. The camel armor is the creme de la creme for the Silk Road. Your creme de la creme is... what? I guess the Keshix? In boot camp can be pretty significant on Gulams in the late game, sure. It just overall doesn't feel very desirable. You know, it's almost like these other options, these other contract choices get utility, and you get none. Flash coming in here. And Dragvan, he does already have his elite techs. The Cataphracts are going to charge to the back side. They just charged into elite archers and crossbows. We'll better keep pushing for the time being. We are starting to move towards those choke points. So a good start, but Starflight now needs to keep the pump going. His economy is not as strong as the Abbasis now. We do, however, have tower elephants on the way. And yes, the water does fall from the aqueducts. It's quite pretty, actually. Then again, maybe you're watching a streamer who has like low res settings on. They can't afford the power of a full AMD PC. Whereas we max out all the prettiness. Damn, this game is trucking deep. Part of me feels bad. I'm like, the discussions we had in the first half of the game, are they going to be good for a YouTube upload? Maybe. It's kind of awkward just because we had little Ezra here, bless him, distracting us. This game is indeed still going. The Starflux economy is definitely in the drain. Down to 91 villages versus 126. And now we're going to see the real difference. This is what I was waiting for. Like, when you reach Imperial, you're not really an Imperial. Or the better way of putting it is you reached age 4, now go age 5. Incinerator arrows, you know, biology, like all these upgrades you get there, it's like being in the 5th age. Meanwhile, other side, I mean, I don't think we even have a university for Starflight. No, there's no uni at all. He needs a lot more gold. So first elephant's in play, and this would be great. However, do you guys want to know something? Camel riders can do reasonably well with the movement speed against tower elephants. Yeah. Remember, they're ranged cavalry. And he did also just get the extra armor, so these boys are bulky as all hell. 7 melee armor, 4 ranged armor. I believe we don't have the camel support. No, so definitely a bit of a sleeper pick, but worth getting. I hope Dragvan's going back for it. Especially when your opponent is playing still in crossbows, it's like a decent amount of base damage removed. Same with Rangin. So we have got Denal on the keep on the left side. Randin's going to be shoved back here. We've got Nesibees now in play. But remember, Dragavan, I mean, a lot of what is being pushed right now by Starflight can be broke by camels. Right, camels get bonus damage against the tower elephants. They get bonus damage against the Nest of Bees or the Siege. And they keep you away from these cataphracts. I do like the fact that Starflock is adding in a few catas, by the way, just in case he sees his opponent going for Siege, he can then snipe. We still have these raids on the back. It's kind of crazy how often this has been happening. Like, kind of a neglect to wall appropriately, right? Like, we have these deep layers, but we don't have any safer layers closer to home. In fairness, Oasis is designed to be a hard-to-wall map. I think it's another reason why I like it so much. So there's a rotation attempt to get in here. Nest of Bees just send it right to the back, but they basically expose themselves. Berserk is being activated to Starflock. I think he got a little bit too close here. The front line is practically dead. He's right next to the enemy production. A handful of horsemen are still alive. And the elephants are gone. The tug-of-war will continue. Back to his side of the map he goes. However, remember, Starflock has captured both sacred sites behind this. We do now have a win condition ticket. I'm still not sure who's taking this. Like, reasonably, at this stage in the game, the Abbasid economy should just win. Against this contract type, I think it should just win. Because, like, Camels is your MVP, right? Counters 2 of the 3 units the Byzantines could build. The other unit can be kited. Like, if you just go Camels, you kill everything. There is a little bit of a gold loft on that, right? You do need 45 gold per. Also, wood is a bit more limited on this map. And in fairness, Abbasids, the comps they run, I'm not sure if they're ideal for Oases because of how much wood they eat, right? Like you can see, he's already having to resort to move out to all these straggler tree areas to gather more wood. And remember, this is also not a map that makes trade that easy because it's slap bang in the center behind. And yes, these ponds all have free shoreline fish in them, so 1,500 food per pond. And then usually you get berries or deer or boar nearby as well. So good value players. Love that. Oh my god, 100-100. He's reached perfect balance between economy and military. Yeah, for about like 2 seconds, and then your OCD is going to kick in. And there we go. Oh, wait, he's keeping it. Has he actually not queued up more villages? Maybe he's OCD about it too. No, he definitely has more coming. We'll break the cycle. Possibly meanwhile just rotating around the back, going back on the olive groves again, as they have been many times before. I mean, Starflock just doesn't have army, right? This should surely be the end point of the game. If this was just archers, there's maybe a world in which you can hold, but it's hand cannoneers. Vicious camera ride is going to get shut down, but I mean, at the end of the day, now all Dragman needs to do is send it to the base. We were here, like, what, 20 minutes ago when he kind of threw the proverbial lead there, diving into the main. You don't have to have that same concern. You don't have to have PTSD from that experience. We are talking about an almost 20x military advantage for Dragman. It's going to be a game 1 win for the Norwegian. Don't mark Starflock off, guys. I mean, we got to the late game. We talked about the late game being maybe not where Starflock shines. There's still potentially 2 games where he can make it uncomfortable earlier on. I'm going to find out what he's got in mind. Let's go for a wonder victory. No! Stop. You know what you're doing. Stop. Anyway. Let's get ready for game number 2. So they just hopped in lobby. They should be starting a sec. Let me update everything. That was kind of a weird game. Definitely could have seen how that would like end 20 minutes earlier, right? Do you think the in-game counter system accurately reflects real-life medieval counters in war? I guess. I mean, if you're talking about is it realistic, no. So like a longbow had more tensile strength than a bolt, right? Than an average crossbow bolt, if I'm not mistaken. So you could argue, like, you know, that's not realistic, but it fits the theme, right? It's like archers counter spears. Like, it follows basically one of the oldest and most classico of counter like triangles that we see in video games. But yeah, like if you look it up, I'm pretty confident that longbows have more tensile strength than a crossbow. A crossbow should have more tensile strength than a standard archery bow, right? But longbows, because of how long they are, there's a lot more pull in them. That's why in war, longbowers technically were worth a lot more than crossbowmen, because a crossbowman anyone could do, more or less, whereas a longbow guy would have to train his whole life. Expo is more precise than the hands-on trained. Yep, just feeds into what I said. So, let's see what they got for game number 2. Delhi versus China. Okay, dude, this is looking like a 2-0. 1 sec. Am I a history nerd? I know quite a bit about history, yeah. I feel like I learned a lot about history through games over the years as well. Gaming was good for me. So, next time mom's like, get off the PC, you know what to say. I'm learning history. I can be like KP. Yeah, that's the thing where it gets muddied on the... I'm learning history. BC showing me how to birth elephants 10 minutes into existence. Wait, what? The campaigns, guys, the campaigns. So let's mark up game 1 as a win for drag. 2. Dragon, Starflark. Do 5 minutes. If you also believe you're wrong, Expos can have up to 150 lb of pull strength, and longbows are up to 60 lb. Pull and tensile strength are different though, right? I think the thing as well that you've got to keep in mind is it's a matter of where you're measuring the distance that tells you the truth. So crossbows, maybe at point blank, crossbows would be more tensile strength because of the initial release. But because of the design of a bolt, a crossbow would very rapidly lose more of its firepower than a longbow arrow would over distance, right? That's an interesting difference to think about. But there is definitely an element of inflated threat and relevance of longbows historically, because the thing with the Battle of Agincourt, which is the one that gets quoted for why longbows are so incredible, is if you look at more accurate historical representations, a lot of people assume that longbows were raining down and killing fully plate armored knights, but that wouldn't have been the case. What was happening at Agincourt was that the longbow shots would usually deflect, exhaust, and maybe kill the horses or knock knights off of their horseback, and then they get bogged down in muddy warfare where you'd be able to just walk in and stab them, right? Because the other thing as well is, white plate was so effective against practically all arrow fire, bolt, or longbow. You guys know white plate was so effective at repelling shots? It wasn't just some logic of hard thing means good. If you look at actual proper design plate, you don't get box design. It's all slightly curved angles. The whole idea is when a bolt or an arrow would come in, it would technically be deflecting. Even if the angle was slightly off, that would force a deflection. Now, what's interesting about that is theoretically, if you needed to still penetrate, in theory, a bolt would be slightly better than a longbow, at least in closest quarters, because it's the same logic of when you tried, if you got say, I'm trying to think, I've got a pen on me. you've got a pen and you try to like, try to wobble it versus if the pen is this long, right? Like, this long and you try to wobble it, you're going to have more wobble there, right? So that means there's more like break point where it can deflect. I've never watched Todd's workshops. No, I don't think so. Maybe? No. It's a fun discussion, though. All right, you guys ready? Let's get into the game. Unless that's the one. I remember I watched one who he was like, he was a longbow shooting champion in England, and he done a lot of tests with them when they broke down like armor plating. So maybe I have seen that one. Yes. Okay, I think I might have seen that. Yeah, Joe Gibbs is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, for sure. Like I'd say if you were to shoot a crossbow and a longbow at point blank, and they were to hit something, the crossbow would register a much, much higher penetration point. So let's say you added a few tiles worth of distance, you'd see a dramatic decline in the crossbow's velocity, and therefore its penetration power rate. It's also like when you think about, the interesting part is also when you dig into, I guess. All right, we're getting into it. Game number 2, Starflark versus Dragavan. And Dragavan has got the optimal matchup here. China up against the Delhi. All right, now screw that. Let's get to the real discussion people want to talk about. We've been talking about what's more penetrative, what's better, crossbow or archer, a longbow. And I was just saying, like, an interesting thing. I don't know if you guys realize this. Do you guys know why a knife penetrates? Why a knife stabs you? Right, like, I don't know, maybe it's more obvious than I realized, but I feel like, when I was younger, it wouldn't have resonated with me, and most people I've met didn't really glance at it first. A knife stabs you not because it's sharp. It's because it has a very thin point of contact. It's the same reason why, like, bolts, arrows, etc. penetrate, right? It's also why stilettos can be considered a lethal weapon. Right? It's just basic physics. It's actually crazy when you think about that like high heels and stilettos are so frequently everywhere because they genuinely could actually like full on, go through someone's hand if you stepped on them. So, actually, like another fun one for you guys to test to kind of give that point. It's the same reason why you can't just jump out of an airplane and land in water and survive, right? Like, if you take your hand and slap water, the water resists you, right? That's why Halo jumping, for example, is so goddamn dangerous. If you get the height slightly wrong, you can just like die. Funnily enough, possibly one of the best films for like representing how you should try to land in water at a high altitude, from a high altitude, is X 2, where there's a scene where he jumps off of a bridge and he shoots at the water with a grenade launcher to create an explosion, which basically breaks the surface. And I find it still to this day hilarious that in all the action movies I've watched, one of the ones that has the most realistic depiction is a X movie. you can't make this crap up. Anyway, so in the game, Delhi versus Chinese. Let's see what they're going to do here, because Delhi should theoretically be at a really big disadvantage against Pro Scout's Fast Castle, and there's not much they can do to stop China doing that. Looking at the spawn, Dragman might have a slight problem. He got a double back tree line spawn, right? So he's actually pretty exposed to potential raids, especially gold over here. These are also front facing. A lot of them actually kind of linear towards Starflark's base. So there is an opportunity to kind of starve your opponent out. This deer is going to be the variable one that might screw Starflark over there. Opening sheep hall is going to be neck and neck, so no one getting a clear edge there. Oh, you guys like the X references? Same if you jump just before the elevator crash. Wait, has that been proven to actually work? You want a X State of the Union reference every stream now? Oh, dude, no. Yeah, so here's the thing about Pro Scouts meta. See, we brought it back to it because we're going to bring it to that metaphor. getting into a game and thinking you're gonna like maybe bait your opponent into doing pro scouts, you're not gonna do it yourself, is kind of like driving your fancy sports car onto a train track, burning your tires, and then realizing you can't get off the track. You're gonna have to drive all the way through. That's pro scouting. You might think you're not gonna be involved in the meta. You might think you're not gonna be a part of it. You're not gonna engage with it, do it yourself, or block it. But in the end, you're nothing more than an Audi R8 revving its ass on a train track going in one direction. There we go. So, you got 2 references this stream. That's enough for a month. Stables is coming in. Dragavan, of course, is going to be going to the PS. Wait, is... What's this build? This isn't the build. Dragman's on a mission, folks. That is not a pro scouts build whatsoever. He's got no one on gold. Is he actually going full aggro into Delhi Feudal? Alright, ballsy strategy. I mean, Ghazi already coming. He's prepping the racks alongside this. What's he seeing on the spawn that makes him think this is desirable? Like, I guess you could argue, like, all the food is front-facing for Starflark, or at least ahead of his base, right? So if you can starve him, he's just stuck with very limited sheep and thus very limited runway here. This means that Dragavan is definitely going to be eventually going into Song, right? I mean, I'm not entirely convinced. He's still gathering in a lot of gold off of taxation. And yeah, okay, so it is just going to be delayed pro scouts. This is a very interesting way that Dragavan has done this. The timing can still be decent because his opponent is still a minute and a half out. I think the logic for Dragavan is he kind of wants to hide his hand. And then when his opponent's going to start adding in scouts because he gets pro scouts for free, he'll ambush him with the spear horseman. Very weird order of things. Do I have a garden or do I live in a flat? I do have a garden. Get into building wooden bows. It's calming and very rewarding. Also just makes you sound very dangerous, to be honest. What about composite bow? Composite bows are meant to be, if I remember correctly, they're typically like higher initial tensile strength, but they lose velocity quicker, right? Alright, so it looks like the horsemen are coming in to block the closest deer. He's getting greedy. How did you guys vote, by the way? I imagine it's going to be Chinese bias. Really? It's actually pretty much 50-50. A lot of believers in Starflark this time. Yeah, kind of surprised by that. Like, I don't think Delhi have been looking good against Drana for a while now. Archer range is going to be coming in. So Dragavan, you know, he's gone for this Archer build, but usually this is all about getting towards Song. He has to go for Song now. If this is going to be a long feudal, that's your win condition as the Chinese. Composite bows don't work in most environments. Elaborate. What do you mean by that exactly? I think they suffer on the range, right? The whole idea is they're meant to be compact, and it's almost like a pseudo crossbow. It's like, why not just have a crossbow? Dude, I want more of these type of conversations. I think it's actually kind of refreshing. We've seen like Chinese versus Delhi way too many times at this stage. Much more fun to have these type of discussions. There's also specifically the Mongols and their bow type. They're very intriguing because they have like what it was some kind of odd ring, right? Have you guys seen that? The riders would have like I can only describe it as a ring. It was like it was a ring that was meant to make it possible to shoot arrows. It's a very weird looking thumb ring. It was quite a unique design compared to like any other types of thumb rings you see. Like an aimer. It was no. So it was more for like some people use them nowadays, but they're very different in style. The whole idea is what it is it's a thumb ring that has a piece that you can attach your arrow to. So the whole idea is like the arrow can't be let loose unless you unhook the ring element. But it was a very unique, specific design that allowed Mongols to very freely shoot on the go. It was how they were able to basically pretty much shoot from any angle. It's because of that specific thumb ring. But like a classic example of like an altered iteration is, I'm pretty sure there's like a wrist mounted type piece that you can get when you archery that can essentially attach to the arrow so that you can initially pull back the full tense without just using your fingers, and then you switch over to your fingers. So Flash coming in here. Horsemen have reached the back side, and the targeting does look quite good, actually. Yeah, credit to him. Dragovan targets down the Spearman. He pretty much avoided targeting the Scholars with the Horseman. Gets a great fight here. And pins Starflock in his base. We still don't have that Juke transition at all. What we do have is a heavy haul of deer back at home for Dragovan, though. They'd also hold the arrows in the bow hand. Yes. Like the Mongol riders were pretty nutty. The ring's an upgrade in AoE too? Probably. Guys, have you ever wondered when are we getting Javelin Horsemen? I just thought of this. Like I'm just kind of surprised. I wonder if we ever get a Malian variant that actually has Javelin Horsemen. People are like, oh god, not more horse archers, please. So this is kind of tricky. I mean, Starflock, the problem I'm seeing here is he doesn't have a lot of longevity to play this age. He doesn't have great food secure. And this is the classic, right? The Barbican to get Juke. He's even going to use it to secure the boar. Drag's playing really, really well this series. I don't think Starflock is necessarily a pushover. Just feels like Dragovan, maybe compared to last week, is kind of switched on a bit better. Bodes well for him. Reminder, by the way, the winner of this series would be going up against Anatand, who is the reigning champion of Midweek last year. So, you need to be on your A game, basically. Wonder if how AoE 4 would be if you could set booby traps. You should probably go try Hussein's mod for Vietnam. And you can see exactly what it'd be like. Very toxic, I think, is the correct term. Very, very toxic. Rams now come from Drag. The more interesting part about Dragon's approach here is I was expecting the Zhuge switch, but he hasn't done it yet. He has Song, but he's just continuing on the same track. Archer Spears. Very toxic, just like how you like your woman. You must be a very big Britney Spears fan. Because you know that she's toxic. I'm sorry, that was terrible. Rams, wait, is he going after the mill? Wait, what? What is... There's an outpost right here. Dragon's usually known for treating his rams a lot better than this. But this is like watching someone use their ram sticks on their PC to cut cocaine. No care in the world. Also, just a lack of spears, really. Ram isn't just going to bait some of the units away. It's actually really good for him. It's just pulling the fight apart like this. However, that's a lot of Ghazi. And the horseman actually went, it doesn't seem like it's going to have to fall away here. I'm still confused at Dragoman's build order here. The Barbican play. I mean, if you at least had Zhuge starting to scale, you feel a lot more confident about your position. But Starflock instead might finally have an opportunity at the 30-minute mark to break out for a Sacred Set. Wait, never heard of what? What did I miss now? Fall of Civilizations. I don't think I've heard of that podcast. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really watch many podcasts. Do you know what I've been watching a lot of recently? Is the anime summary channels, where it just like summarizes 4 seasons of anime in like an hour for you. And the shameful part of it, I'm not ashamed that I watch anime. The shameful part is I pretty much just keep getting recommended different isekai animes, which those don't know is the I died and went to a video game world. And a lot of them are pretty much just the same story with a tiny twist. I gotta stop watching other things. Oh. Starflight, did he just overextend? I mean, the archers seem to be protected long enough here. The Ghazi just aren't really going on top of them. The Zhuge Nu are getting added in. This was the threat factor we talked about. You need a lot of Ghazi to address the Zhuge threat. Starflock doesn't have it. Instead, he was stockpiling for Castle. Yeah, and there's a kind of worrisome momentum switch that can happen here. Starflock is going to have to retreat away. He's about ready to go for the tech up. We'll get the gold triple coming in soon from the Sacred Sites. Dragoman, I mean, he's not that far off Castle himself while gunning with the Zhuge. So it could be like a double whammy of punishment here, right? Mirroring the tech, but also being able to dive your opponent if he keeps this push going. SK killed the anime industry, in my opinion. I don't know if I'd say that killed the anime industry. I think probably like conglomeratization of the anime killed it, right? Like of big companies picking up the small companies. I mean, I don't know if I'd say it's even killed. One thing that is kind of sad about anime is when you have a really good anime, but they don't bother to make another season because they just see it as a marketing tool to sell the books. That always upsets me. I haven't got time to read. You guys saw me earlier. We could barely focus on game number 1 because of Ezra for the first half. You think I'm going to be able to sit there with a book in hand? I can't do that, dude. If you're going to read one of those anime books, you need both hands free. Not for that reason. Get your mind out of the gutter. No, what you need it for is like in the event that you're reading a book, but someone comes around, but you're holding your baby in the other hand, but then you flip page and it happens to be one that's maybe a little bit lewd, you need to cover the page with your hand so that like the visiting guest doesn't think you're a perv. It's very difficult. Ain't got time for books. Read me some subtitles. No one thought they were getting this discussion for this series. It looks like relics are on the way home for Starflight, but some of them are getting intercepted right now. Guns, germs, and steel. I've never even heard of that. Neon Genesis. I still haven't watched Neon Genesis. I don't know if I'm just beyond the point where I care about it. Like, for me, the best mecha anime is Code Geass by far. You know, it's kind of like Cowboy Bebop. I think Cowboy Bebop sucks. Someone's gonna, like, unsubscribe, but hear me out. I understand why you would have liked Cowboy Bebop when you were, like, 10. But, like, watching Cowboy Bebop now, it has nothing special about it that every other anime doesn't do. I get why people revere Cowboy Bebop. That's because at the time, it's kind of like Total Annihilation, right? It's like, if someone went and played Total Annihilation now, they're like, well, every RTS does these things. So they wouldn't care. But for me, I'd be like, yeah, Total Annihilation is good. Because it was doing these advanced game mechanics 10 years before the competition. What? Why are you guys hating on me? It's a very fair point. Cowboy Bebop, the core storytelling mechanics that make it good, every anime does now. Well, maybe not every, but most animes do now. It's a fair take. I watched 8 episodes of it, and I gave up. And if someone's about to tell me, you need to watch 10 episodes, that's when it gets good. Okay, so you're saying I need to waste 10 hours of my life before something gets good. Come on. So, both of them in age 3 now. Starflock's army is incredibly small. Dragoman did also get a lot more of the deer off the map, right? So he has a lot more runway to work with here. You know what does hold up to the test of time? Berserk. That crap still blows your mind. I'll admit, I think, like, and this is someone who, like, really got into it and enjoyed it. Like, you know, enjoyed the overarching story. The story gets a little bit warped and confusing at the end. But it damn well surprises you. You never won't be like, wait, what just happened? Attack on Titan has the best and most intricate story of any anime ever written. Not even worth comparing other stories. So I still need to watch Final Season Part 2, because that was just a debate, split that into two. It's decent. I don't know if I'd say it's the best I've ever seen. What was this for? Starflark's in a really rough position. I think... What can he really do from here? I mean, maybe Men-at-Arms? But Draga just has better economy. I feel like the thing for Starflark, he has to survive and get the farms going. He done that really well in game 1, but admittedly still eventually lost. So, like... Attack on Titan really lets itself down, and I think someone just mentioned, I think it was Season 3, where they didn't have enough material to make a real season. That would be its weak point. I think that's where they lost a lot of people. It's like they basically, they start off really well, and, you know, with what I've seen in Final Season Part 1, they were doing really well there. But in the middle is just this gap where it's like, yo, we need to release a season, but we ain't got none. And instead of just doing like a Full Metal Alchemist and making it up, they basically took like small scraps and stretched it out. That's coming in here. I mean, these Lancers are going to mop up a bit. We do have crossbow switch coming though. I'm actually impressed Starflark isn't completely dead right now. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. He's pretty dead. We have Lancer Ray snicking in the back. He has no food income. I feel as if this game has reached its conclusion and we're looking at a 2-0. I haven't finished Berserk yet. Did they release another new season? The new season sucked. The OG one was good, though. And Dragavan looking good this week. Has booked himself a showdown with Anatand. Let me know what you guys think. Do you reckon he can get at least one game off Anachad? Or is that man just going to be too unstoppable? And let me know what you guys think of this type of comments and conversations. I don't know. Maybe we should start having just chatting days and crap like that. Reacts content. Become basically what all of YouTube is. I'll catch you on the next one. We're talking like what actually makes a story good for a rhetorical lens. Like after season 3, most watchers couldn't definitively tell you who the bad guy or versus good guy is. But there's probably better examples of like who's the good guy, who's the bad guy that exist in anime, right? So, I mean, I haven't seen it, but my friend has told me about one about a guy who gets trapped and milked because it's really weird, chat. It's really weird. But he swears by it. It's like the guy's has like XP and healing properties or something. It's really dark. But the point, that is an example where like no one is right. The way he's described that, I haven't watched it. The way he's described to me though, I'm like, no one is in the right. Everyone is like equally evil in that crap. Like I remember he was telling me that this guy, he even gets a chance to go back in time and make it so that he was never kidnapped and forcibly anything or whatever. But like he could have went back in time and made that not happen. But instead, he went back in time and allowed it all to happen again, so that he could then go get his revenge. It's like the highest degree of revenge anime. You know those types. They removed the fan-made Berserk, which was superb. I don't think I've seen that one. You know what was pretty good was Claymore, actually. It's kind of sad the way Claymore just abruptly ended, because I think it was getting really, really good when it just kind of cut off. I don't think they brought that back, right? Anyway, guys, we are going to have more series, so don't worry. It's not just going to turn into an anime chat show. Let's see what we got. So, in terms of series available, we have got Numu versus Red Darksider. We got Mio Micah versus Anivaku. Actually, I think Mio Micah versus Anivaku could be quite entertaining. Yeah, let's check in on Mio versus... If I can find their draft, that is. Where is that? Did he forget to drop his draft? I think he did. There's also Kaiser Johan versus Rakbulo. Could watch Lash live. Interesting. How many games in are they, though? Let's have a look at Lash's. And they're in game right now. Let's load it up. Is this game 2 or free? Trying to chase it down actually and find out which game it is. Okay, so Lash is up 1 game. We'll do 2x speed to try and catch up. Hoping the next DLC they add in-game tournaments you can join. That would be nice. It kind of ruined what I did, but yeah. Fame was good, and they didn't want to wait to finish it and ended it really poorly. Yeah, that usually happens with a lot of them, right? I think your Steam account has been compromised. The account you played Dota on just messaged me to join your team for a tournament. Yeah, ignore those. Those are, I'd say those are quite obvious, and quite obvious scams. For a start, like, I quite often, like, remember, like, whenever you, it's kind of like when Viper, there's been a person pretending to be Viper at the moment. If someone is like, I'm sorry, let me flip that around. Lash is leading, by the way. If someone is pretending to be one of us, for a start, question why we've added you. No offense, but like, why have we added you, right? And yeah, I think I remember you off-white, but it does look like a different account. Yes. But thank you. Appreciate you letting me know. But yes, we are aware that's been happening. It's been happening for ages. I think people just need to remember that it's been happening. It happened with a lot of Dota 2 talent where people were pretending to be them. So last year, this became quite a rampant thing where people were impersonating. There's really nothing I can do about it because sadly people just make fake accounts. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. So we'll catch up on this live. But yeah, so I haven't seen Samurai Champloo. I've heard reasonable things about it. I can't be asked to even bother with Naruto. Naruto to me is like, there's too much. There is an interesting Reddit thread that gives you the episodes of Naruto you should watch, right? That you could basically get away with just watching. I think there's like, when you filter it down to that list, it's something like 60 episodes. But like, Naruto has over 400 episodes, right? Do I still play Dota 2? I haven't played it in a while. I just like, you know, the people I played with moved on to different groups of people they play with. I've always said I'd love to get back involved with Dota 2. But it's just like, the circle of people that work tournaments now is incestuously tight. There's not many new people breaking in my opinion. Did I ever play Ad? What do you mean? Don't know what that means. Wait, why is Faye getting timed out? Naruto sucks unless you watched it as a kid and have nostalgia lens. Yeah, fair. Alright, guys. Are you ready for the big one? This is especially going to hurt Faye, because I imagine she's the type of person who could be sitting there, rage typing, but unable to talk now for like 3 minutes. I think Dragon Ball Z is heavily overrated. I think Dragon Ball Z is very overrated. Now, there's probably arcs of Dragon Ball Z that's great. Sure, I haven't seen those ones. Every one that I've watched, it's not that it's bad, right? Like the way that I describe Dragon Ball Z, it's kind of like how would you define an anime, right? Like obviously an anime, if you want to be technical about it, it's like made in Japan, etc. It's almost like there's cartoons and there's anime, if that makes sense. Like to me, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is an anime. It's a well-contained story. There's great pace and there's great progress. Things happen, etc. A cartoon is like I can walk away, come back 5 episodes later, and I don't care. I'm just gonna watch it. Like, you know, Pokemon's incredible, but I feel like Pokemon, with the way I watched it as a kid, felt like a cartoon more than anime. And Dragon Ball Z is to the extreme of that, right? It's like you can walk away for 15 episodes, come back, and like you still get the gist of it. That's what makes it so good and so approachable for like, you know, generic consumption. It doesn't necessarily make it great for like storytelling arcs per se. It's like, yeah, I feel Dragon Ball Z, sure, I can see the merit that some people have and why they like it. I do think it's also overrated though. Someone was telling me about like 1 or 2 specific seasons that are really good and worth watching. I just haven't watched them, so, you know, granted. But like, you know, OG Dragon Balls and watching through it, yeah, like, dude, as like a kid, I get why you'd find it dope. It's pretty much like watching an episode. Watching Dragon Ball Z felt kind of like watching a hilarious episode of Tom and Jerry where they beat the crap out of each other, but nothing really fundamentally changes. I was talking to someone about this recently where like Tom and Jerry is weird from like a cartoon POV because nothing changes. There's no actual real story. There's just shenanigans every single episode. And I know Dragon Ball Z has a story, but you see what I mean by the shenanigans logic of like, the best way I've ever heard someone describe Dragon Ball Z, I had to laugh. They were like, I tried watching Dragon Ball Z once, but I was watching it, and there was this guy who was charging up a giant fireball, and then I had to walk away and do some chores. I came back an hour later, he was still charging the fireball, he released it and missed. I laughed. It was the most honest way I'd ever heard it described. So anyway, let's focus on what's been happening in the game a little bit, because what we have from Deniskia is a desperate attempt to try and play an age behind here. He went for the classic mass camel strat. In theory, a decent one, right? But, I mean, Lash being aged up now, I'm surprised he's going that hard into Lances. PG could probably work just as well for him here. What, dude? We're giving variety discussion. It's the round of 32. We're usually going to have, like, lopsided matchups or not much happening in the early phases. I think it's cool. I want to encourage more people to have these type of discussions. We can have random talks in downtimes in games. This one, we probably should have been a little bit more focused because, obviously, you know, we had the 2x speed. But in fairness, even then, it was just pro scouts, right? Classic crap. Whereas Abas's basically played 2TC mass camel archer, which we've also seen a lot in the past. Spimmin is an interesting choice from Lash, though. I don't actually like the Spimmin choice at all here. Camel archers count spears really well. I think the PG is the very obvious thing for Lash to just start breaking out here. PG Horseman actually would be sick. Kids don't appreciate build-up anymore. They want everything now. No, dude, come on. Charging a fireball for 3 episodes is like the baseline. Isn't like me wanting instant gratification. It's just comical payoff from them. Lash looks like he's starting to push this back, and he is going for those horsemen we talked about. So Horseman Spears is still not exactly what I'd say we've been optimal here, but it works. He needs to address the camel archers now. This is getting ridiculous. This is up to 15 camel archers. He's also chicken running away from this, though, and you can only run so far. Spears are going to dive in, and you're about to see why Spears are not the counter to camel archers. That being said, actually, Deniskia making a mistake. He's overkilling a lot of these spears. Loses a lot more camel archers than he realistically should. Lances aren't going to be able to pull back. Now, realistically, what you want to do with these, you want to be circling around looking for targets like this. Your Lancers shouldn't be for the main fight. They should be for eco kills. Because remember, this is 2TC at the end of the day. Deniskia has built a 20-plus eco lead now. You want to watch hours of nothing happening before we get to good stuff? I'll watch water get to a boil slowly. Okay, that was an interesting way to go. I thought we were going to like insult my content or something else. That would have been much quirkier use. I can get behind a good old binge watch. Well, not even binge watch, just filler anime, I call it. It's like Black Clover started off as a filler anime for me. And actually, like, I don't know if I still feel about that way. I actually kind of love Black Clover. I need to get back to it. Fairy Tail started off as a filler anime. But boys, I will tell you, honestly, by the end, Jesus Christ, was I invested in the outcome of their stories. Fairy Tail is the most classic, embodiment of we're losing, but power of friendship we win. But you should still watch it. So, Rella's coming home. I mean, it's kind of crazy that Deniskia stayed in Feudal Age this long. We finally have Castle on the way. His opponent is hunkered down now, though, and, you know, he has at least built a big eco lead. I feel like Lash probably should have been flank raiding a bit more than he has been in this game. Doesn't feel like he's actually done real damage here. Princess Tutu. I haven't heard of that one. I do think that Hunter x Hunter will be forever one of the most goated anime you'll ever see. And I'm still beyond annoyed that we don't have a follow-up to it. Like, pretty much scream while scraping your headboard in frustration levels of annoyed. Puella Mada Magica Madoka, whatever it was called, is really good though. Highly recommend that. So class coming in, we do have the veteran scene for the horseman now. She needs to click onto them. We do have PG plus horseman, so we've reached the comp we're looking for. This is where Duniski is going to struggle. Castellage is coming in 10 seconds, but how much is he really going to have left to work with here? Ramos is starting to get pinched. Villagers having to run behind the tree lines. He will at least have the walls to slow things down here, but Lash is on a collision course, man. He's massing fast. Diniskia, really, you want to be looking at probably golems. He's going for camera riders instead. In theory, that can work. Right, chunky units. The Palace Guard aren't going to get bonus damage. They'll counter out against the Horsemen. But the balls aren't going to be up in time, though. So Lash, you better shuffle in the back here. He's still only playing 1 TC, but that's about to change. Second one coming through. Manga's getting updates. Yeah, wasn't it something like... I'm trying to remember with Hunter x Hunter. The writer died, right? And then he left it to his brother, but his brother basically couldn't be asked. Was what I heard. You know what's a sad one? Is no game, no life. He didn't die? I thought he died. Or retired? Or what happened? The rumors were that he passed away. Oh, he's just very ill. Okay, got you. But he doesn't do the writing now, right? I thought his brother was meant to be getting involved, which is why people got excited for a moment. They're like, oh my god, new writer. Oh, he actually released a new chapter? Okay, so there might be hope. Basically, we'll get a Hunter x Hunter remake for the 3rd time, and then we'll get the next chapter. That's good, then. But the illness is pretty bad, right? So, like, he tends to be out of action for long periods of time. This is a lot of camel arches, by the way. I can't believe that Lash hasn't been able to break in yet. And what is up, Hacking? Thank you very much for the sub, mate. Appreciate you. Welcome back to Swarm. Like, really, for Lash now? I mean, he done Clock Tower. No, okay, he done Imperial Pass. I was about to say, if he done Clock Tower, you just build Nest of Bees. Nest of Bees, Spears, and go. Like, Camel Archers get destroyed by Nest of Bees, right? Obviously, you need a few extra compared to Archers, but it's still a unit that gets bonus damage from the knobs. But yeah, no game, no life was sick, and I'm still frustrated that crap went down like it did. Basically, the guy was discovered to have stolen artwork from creators. And instead of there being some sort of resolution that was beneficial to the art creators, and then the anime could continue, we're just never getting the new anime. Which is weird, because I think they also then made some weird sort of prequel movie, or I can't remember if it was meant to be directly related to No Game, No Life. I think it was meant to take place in the past. I'm not even sure how they got to make that, considering the stolen assets. But yeah. I want the goddamn follow-up to that anime. That one was a banger. I do need to get back to watching That Time I Was Reincarnated as Slime. Probably the best reincarnated anime made. Okay, Lash is in a bit of a weird predicament here, guys. Diniskia with the mass camel arch is just kind of on top of it all. This is getting rough, man. I mean, he does have 5 relics, right? But he doesn't have the pagodas. He's getting baited as well. He reacts in the back. Only a small group of troopers left to deal with the camel archers and the camel riders. So many camel archers at that. Admittedly not kiting, so that might be a bit of a problem. I think Diniskia needs to be a bit more focused on the micro here. Nestabes are now coming in for Lash. The rewalls are in, so, you know, welcome to the Thunderdome. You aren't leaving. These camels are all dead. You're enjoying solo leveling? I've heard good things. I don't know if have they released a new season of Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? That I want to see more of. That's coming in. It looks like the camel's getting wiped here. Diniskia, he does have the farm set up, so this isn't just going to outright kill him, but he did just kind of lose a very big momentum opportunity to control the game. That's just going to get the breathing room to start scaling here. You know what? I'm still annoyed that they haven't actually, like, we'll probably never see a follow-up to. And this was, I think, was one of the most obvious, egregious examples of, oh, if you want more of it, buy the manga. Maggie or Magai, however you say it. I love that anime. But they treated it like an advertisement for the mangas. So you'll probably never see another season of it, ever. And that drives me crazy. Just like these camels have been driving Lash crazy. But their arc is pretty much past. We do have Military Academy coming in. He's still adding in camels, but it's becoming a lot more about the horsemen now. I wish I hadn't fast forwarded at the start of this. Probably would have been uploadable. I don't know, I feel bad about that now. The mass camel archer strategy was definitely a very intriguing one. I just like having these kind of mixed combos. I mean, you know, we've been doing the midweek musters for 12 weeks, and most of the time when we're doing these streams, we're basically just commentating over what we're seeing. It's nice to actually have different conversations and interact with the chat on them. Chat, do you know what's a weird one? Yeah, more anime talk. High School DxD. My friend told me to watch it. I was like, this is just perverted crap. But then, like, they start developing an actual story. Those are the most concerning type of anime, because you know everyone's just thinking you're a pervert, but legitimately they get intriguing. It's like Kill la Kill. If anyone catches you watching an episode of Kill la Kill and doesn't have context, they will think you are just a freak. But the story gets really good. I can wholeheartedly recommend Kill la Kill to people. All I'll say is clothes are trying to take over the world. And it's a really convincing story. That should be enough to get you on board. Which, by the way, that was an anime also made by the people who made Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann is probably the single best example of anime escalation, story escalation anime. Every single episode is like a ramp up. Something bigger and crazier is happening. I've never, ever seen any anime capture that in such a pure form. You heard this from all the young fellas at work? Putting stickers from that show on their gear? Yeah, guys, it's a really good story. You know, you just have to look deep inside the characters. Not that way. Just look deep inside them. Nisio, what is going on here, man? The full wall, but the braking coming through. Hello. This raid could be big. He might have even chopped through the tree line, so instant access to one of the granaries at a point in the game where Lash has no food income to speak of. And yeah, I need to get back to watching Fire Force. It is really cool. Admittedly a bit clowny sometimes. Wolf's coming in. He's going to be able to cover himself here, right? I don't think he actually did fully chop through in the end, so luckily he's going to keep them here. Lash's army is going to be able to react, so really critical that he doesn't lose the farms at this point. So difficult though, right? Like, you know, you're seeing the out rotations. Realistically, what Lash needs is stone walls. That's how you win with Nesta Bees here. Deniskia, for the love of God, build something other than camel archers. Oh. We haven't trying to dodge out. I mean, they shuffle around, though. There's nothing to hit on the east side. So realistically, this is going to get cleared up. Shouldn't be any more eco damage. That's important because with Lash being basically half of the villager count of Deniskia, he can't afford any losses whatsoever. Bold choice to do a camel comp and then not micro them. Do you not just A-click these? I thought that's how you win. You know what I need to catch up on, chat? The Fate series, like the Unlimited Blade Works, Fates, etc. I haven't seen the most recent arcs. Those are dope. Fate Zero is still the best. Fate is overrated? It depends which one you're watching. I need to see the one that's about Rin's sister, which is one of the primary arcs of Fate. I did find the Fate spin-off that had Shakespeare in it quite comical. Don't think I'd take it seriously, but it was entertaining. Heaven's Feel, yes, that's the one. It's basically, it's interesting because you know you should be getting quite a different story, at least, in theory, because the character it's about is pretty much a footnote in the other two arcs entirely. Didn't know where to start, what's connected. I mean, you can just watch them in, like, chronological order, I guess. But, I mean, the whole, practically, like, it's because they're all based on an interactive storytelling game, right? Like, you kind of, you choose which way you go through. The redhead was really popular. What does that mean? Get your head out of the car. Deniskya. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. Deniskya's about to go Imperial Age. And when he goes Imperial Age, would you guys like to guess what he's going to do? He's going to build more camels. He's not going to stop. This is going to continue on. In scenarios, biology, I mean, when you get Imperial, you want him even more. We have raids again. We've been here before. He's going to pull some of the army home, so Lash is going to shuffle over. He's nowhere near ready for Imperial himself. It's getting a teensy bit awkward. Nestibes are approaching, though. Should be able to get those flurries out. The village are being pulled. Big mistake made there. Deniskya has to cancel it. He's got the elite upgrades coming through, but... we are not Age of Empires 2. This is the wrong game, sir. The wrong game. Lash, he's got a choke point as well, so Nestibes should be able to do a lot of damage in theory. The problem is, he doesn't have any spearmen here. Nothing to actually protect necessarily against the horsemen. The Nestibes have to deal with that first. When really, you just want to be targeting the camel archers. And he will do it. There we go. Flurry hits over. I like that from Lash. Trying to kill the horsemen's a waste of effort here. Wipe out the camel archers instead. Elite upgrades come in, but most of them now dead. He will definitely move these to try and attack villages soon. There we go. Such a scrappy game. Someone in BC's Discord found out you can stone wall to any building in the game and have it link up. That's interesting. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Definitely not with wood walls, though. I don't think there's any theoretical way to make that work with wood walls. It's like out of nowhere, Lash suddenly does actually have Imperial. So Great Wall Gatehouse coming in. Congrats, folks. It's another long game. In a city, all the buildings were connected by stone. True. What we need is more games that do the Stronghold 2 building logic, you know? Where you just, like, connect all your buildings in. It becomes part of the stone wall. I brawl the food. Yeah, so where was that gold coming from then? I mean, just the relics, right? 5 of them does add up pretty quick. Got cheeky stone walls coming to protect the gold here. The Great Wall Gatehouse should protect. This thing is ridiculously overtuned now. Watch what it does. What it does is melts these mother duckers. Oh, it looks like he actually got a little bit too close. Remember, while Nestibes got nerfed, the Great Wall Gatehouse damage didn't. It hits hard. Ash pretty much just refusing to move villages here. Interesting choice. Awkward part is these camel archers have ended up at the angle where the Nestibes don't even shoot. So that was about, like, what, 10, 15 villages going down? Lash is still behind by 50 villages in this game. Oh my god. Alright, he definitely hates this camel. Like, wait, this is like a terrible trade. I'm kind of surprised Deniski's running away. Like, standing that camel there was much better. Remember, he has the extra armor. He's up to 7 melee armor, which means each of those villagers was hitting for 1 damage. And, reminder, camel riders get pretty damn stacked in the Imperial Age. Time to get comfortable. It's going to be a long game. Great, we can talk more about anime. What I have started watching is not an anime, by the way. I've started watching Succession. Succession's weird. I can see the appeal. I don't want to say it's low budget, but in some ways it kind of feels like it's shot in a low budgety way. It kind of, you know what? Succession, in weird ways, reminds me of The Office, even though it's not a documentary or anything. It's not meant to be a comedy, but it's almost like the storytelling's done from... How would I describe it? I've forgotten the name of it. There was a sitcom that kind of has that vibe to it. Arrested Development. It has a weird Arrested Development vibe to it. Can highly recommend. So, raids coming in. It looks like a lot of securing going on from Niskia. I mean, he could actually set up a proxy base here that would hit pretty hard. It would give him the dive in. He does have ridiculous production rates soon, right? Yeah, he's 5 structures away from getting the tier 3, which gives the 20% increase production speed. Yeah, it's definitely shot strangely. I just finished season 1. Ever see Peep Show? Yes. I watched Peep Show years afterwards. Still enjoyed it. There's just some shows that you struggle with that with, right? Like, I think for a lot of people, if they watch Office for the first time, getting through season 1 and 2 is a real struggle. It's almost like the degree to which Michael is cringe helps bridge you over through the early seasons. God, break an egg to make a tomlet. Flash come in there. Deniskia is looking like he should be able to break in. Lash is kind of lacking the firepower, right? Maybe not. I mean, the weird part is these spearmen down here aren't really being dealt with. These horsemen aren't even attacking. Oh, sorry. They are. They just hit for so little you wouldn't think it. They're all attacking the one pass guard. Finally, the village gets dropped. So Deniskia should have the push point now. Yeah, and Lash realizes, like, okay, if one village stops you that long, what happens when we back up here? A lot of non-UK people don't get Peep Show. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the most memorable scenes from Peep Show is after he's had his child. He's like, it's weird. We've been friends for most of our life. So sitting here right now, if you reached for my son, I would literally stab your eyes out. As a father, I actually get that reference a lot more now. It's weirdly dry, blunt, and obvious, but brilliant. What's not obvious is who's actually winning this game. Like, I feel as if Deniskia should have won this game, is winning this game, but it never seems to end. And sometimes it's kind of on Deniskia when he does moments like this, where he's now just shooting all the buildings the entire time. Instead of, you know, going deeper and killing things that matter. Like all those undefended villages. Oh, God. It's never going to end. Lash now has EAT coming in, which means those horsemen that were doing practically no damage are really going to do no damage. And this guy's better claim to the map's gold. You're a funny little trooper, you are. He may have access to the limited gold, but would you like to look and see who has 5 relics in taxation? China #1. And do I need to time Johan out? We don't mention the thingy scouts around here. You know what's bad? The British version of The Office? I could never get into it. I think the problem for me is like the grainy quality of the film was too out of date. I wouldn't even entertain it. So maybe it is goated. Maybe people are right, like it is actually that good. But like I legit just couldn't. I couldn't look at it. EAT on the way. We do have you on as well. We are getting trade wings. So Deniski is going to try to solve his gold issue now. I mean, what's the ideal comp for him here? Surely it is hand cannon is, right? Hand cannon is Golems, just play a slow comp. You hate cringe humor, so British off. Wait, but like, but both. Why are you targeting British officers there? Both officers have a lot of cringe humor. Pretty much the entirety of Michael's arc for the first 4 seasons is cringe humor. You know what I have been enjoying, guys, and I don't think gets enough praise? Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol is incredible. I have been well and truly pleasantly surprised by how good Doom Patrol is. Lash, Al just having a camp in his base again. The other thing I'm just thinking about is, like, as we get deep in this game, this Great Wall Gatehouse, it protected the gold, but the farms are going to be the more exposed. He has at least full-on corner camps, and Deniski seems to be allergic towards going there. But from, like, a raw statistical standpoint of HP efficiency, Camel should win this. Doom Patrol has an amazing Season 1, Season 2, and later on as good. Okay, is there a Season 2? I might be in Season 2. No, I'm on Season 1 up to, like, episode 16? I thought there was only 1 season. Deniski's like, whoa, I almost lost 2 camels and need to leave. Is this like a master strategy? I didn't check their drafts, but it's like Deniski got such a bad draft. He's like, if I just wear Lash down in game 2, I will roll over him with energy in game 3. Doom Patrol has 4 seasons? Damn, I didn't even know that. All right, I'm gonna have fun. That's interesting that it has 4 seasons, because the first season was like they basically been doing a season a year, right? So they've kind of been over pumping, maybe. Now getting raided just as the trade's getting set up. And he needs to keep pressure going, but we're getting the same problem every time, man. No, why are we talking about Paw Patrol? Guys, come on. Paw Patrol has nothing on Bluey. Alright, Bluey is the GOAT. We've been over this already. You know what? You know what is a heartwarming moment as a father? Which is appropriate to this game, because Lash is about to show Deniski who the daddy is. Is when you're sitting there and you're like, what do you want to watch, darling? And your daughter goes, Bugs Bunny. I'm proud of that. How much the arbitrators are bringing home? Oh, 39 gold now. I think he just switched over because he can keep going that way, right? Like, actually, Deniski has only got 7 traders in total. Yeah, he's trading these sides, so it's now going to be 44 gold. He doesn't have any techs. They're only coming in now. He's queued all 3 of them up. There is a window here for Lash now. Deniski, it's weird that he's just rushing the trade. He still has 4k gold. His problem is in food. Like, I don't know what happened is. Yeah, there's raids, but the numbers just don't mathematically make sense. Especially with 80 people on food, so there was a giant gap. I think he over-idled, if anything, right? Ran way too many villages away. All the new Willy Wonkas are banned in your house? Okay, so I watched the new one. And I'm going to give it one thing. You guys know what it's going to be, right? The one thing I liked about it, I kind of wish we had more of it, was Hugh Grant. I think Hugh Grant gave a unique perspective on the Oompa Loompa. I like that he didn't just replicate the existing Oompa Loompa. There is a growing risk to a certain degree that, like, maybe Hugh Grant is just becoming a character type arc. But I'm okay with it. I love the gentleman. I love the other one he done with Jason Statham. I think Hugh Grant might be in his best form ever. Oh, Nesta Bees. Needs to be targeted down right now. That's going to do more damage than the other units. Unless you can't tell a camel rider from a camel archer, which is exactly what's happening here. Guys, can you tell which one's a camel archer and which one's a camel rider? Like Dora the Explorer now. Do you know which one is the right one? And no, so here's the thing. The new Willy Wonka is good. It is not great. And here's why. It shouldn't have even tried to be a musical. The new Willy Wonka has one good musical song. And it's the one from the original movie. I think they should have just scrapped the song angle. That actually made it worse. Alright, so we still have PG slipping into the farms here, right? But Lash has been a little bit idle at home. Hasn't been able to rush out. We do have mass Nesta Bees coming, though. For Deniskia, his goal should just be to get mangoes. Like, mangoes just break this game. But, you know, it's Deniskia, and for the last 43 minutes, he's been obsessed with camels. It's like someone who just can't stop rewatching the first Mummy movie. I think he's going to keep doing this. One has bows, one has swords. Yeah, but like looking at them at a glance, right? In that fight, good luck identifying where the line is. Yeah, I swear, the best version of Hugh Grant is slightly sleazy. Why is he trying to seduce me? He's a creepy old man. Hugh Grant. You know what I mean? Like the character he played in Gentleman, the camp seductionist, and then you have the one in the... I forget the name of it. It's the one with Jason Statham, where he's like an arms dealer. I'm just gonna keep drops from Lash. He has at least stopped the trade now. On one side. He needs to deal with the other, because the other one is the big jackpot, right? 22 food and 87 gold. Exactly what Deniskia needs at a moment where he needs it most. Look at this gold income. And this might be a perfect time for Lash to strike. I mean, the Nesta Bees are moving up. We've got a switch into Lances, which is in theory a cool idea, but a pricey one for a guy who hasn't really built up huge reserves yet. German TV show is so much better than the movie. I'm of mixed opinions. I've watched both. The TV show has certain appeals, but the movie is incredible for its individual characters, if nothing else. I would say that's where the movie wins out, is the individual characters are so much more freaking lovable. Like, almost all the core roles of the Gentleman movie hit it out of the park, right? Like, Charlie Hunnam was incredible. Matthew McConaughey, Colin Farrell, Hugh Grant, all smashed it with their roles. It is now weird watching Succession and seeing Jeremy Strong after the role he played in that movie, though. Fittingly, both involve him being obsessed with drugs. Anyone else feel like this is slipping away from Deniskia? This is a game that it feels as if he should have won by 30 minutes, if we're being totally blunt about this. Lash is just in the driving seat, right? Because Deniskia is no longer raiding. Lash is caught up in economy. He's now building a huge reserve. At this stage, Deniskia needs stone walls, man. He needs to slow things down. I don't know. This guy needs to get away from camel archers. Do I even upload this game? In some ways, the camel archer obsession was comical. I feel like we've just had more of a podcast vibe on this one. Well, Lash has more mobility in his army because he has Yuan, right? Which does make it easier for Palscar to go everywhere. But like at the same time, at some point, you have to look and reflect upon your comp and go, yeah, the camels aren't really carrying this, you know? Because he could realistically have just been scaling up to 40 hand cannons. And I kind of get why he doesn't want to do it, right? The reason, guys, is if China does it as well, China's just better. But there would have been an opening to make it justifiable, I think. Now that your opponent's economy isn't in a state, now your opponent actually has a balanced economy, he can start going hand cannoniers as well, right? Like 1,000 gold, it's not going to be an immediate ramp up to 40 HC, but he could start trickling them in. Weirdly enough, instead, he's just going crossbows, playing it safe. 2 TC advantage has gone away. Well, that is because Lash eventually went for a second TC on Song, right? So, like, he was in playing very quick. I think the Nesta Bees was a good idea before Biology came in. Once Biology came in, I think the Camel Archers got a little bit too tanky for it. That feels to me like your conversion point, where like it can make sense versus doesn't. I mean, it's still going to be good against the hand cannoniers, right? Lash saving up for Wonder? No. He's just getting ready for the keep drops. Oh, cute. Wait. No, wait. Just go around. Okay, just you could legit just go around right now. This is the most unnecessary Siege Workshop drop ram through wall moment you're gonna see. Yo, what's up, Water Highwind? Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate the sub. Welcome to Swarm. I feel like he gets the vision and goes, oh no. Thank you, Ufasa. Welcome back to Swarm. I mean, this is killing a decent number of workers. Denisia's kind of getting desperate for wood. I just still find it comical, this wall, man. Like, what was this from Denisia? It's one of those moments where it's like, well, I feel a bit silly for this wall, but then for this keep rather. But then again, you should feel silly for this wall. Meanwhile, Lash is gonna be able to dive in. So this is gonna be a cut of the trade. Deniskia has 27 traders right now. No way to really trade two. Actually, sorry, he's still got the gate there. Yeah, so the outpost is gonna reveal when he does that though. You never got textiles? Who cares about textile? The Nesta B shots. Yeah, that damage looked a little bit underwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. He's gonna get dove now. These are these clock tower ones, they take a while to die. Spin crossbows are starting to mop this up a little bit on the east side. The castle is drawing a lot of attention. Deniskia should just be winning this fight. But instead of putting his entire army, done this. We'll get them up in the end. All right, guys, get your predictions in. How long is this game going to be? How deep into the darkness do we sail here? Are we talking like reasonable length? Like I'm going to watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood all the way through? Or are we just genuinely in full-blown Naruto territory here? Not enough wood on this map for it to be 3 hours? Yeah, I mean, like, there's no way that, like, you just trade for the wood. God, the village is moving in. He's just trying to block out the trade a different way. It's like, if you have all these camel archers, you can't burn walls. Wrong! He has incendiary arrows. He can siege his way all the way through. Oh my god. That Lord of the Rings comment just reminded me. In a few years, I will be able to sit down and watch the whole trilogy for the first time ever for her with my daughter. And I don't know if it makes me a bad parent, but I'm really looking forward to her reaction to Sean Bean. I guess I shouldn't be proud of that. It's almost like you're stripping away a layer of innocence when they see that type of scene, you know? But also at the same time, Lord of the Rings. Speaking of which, we are getting more Rohirrim Riders coming in. This is adding in a layer of Lancers. Which is interesting considering his opponent has a lot of spears. Latch is just doing marathons. His army is substantially bigger right now. I mean, in theory, if he just blocks the trade, Denicia can't build an army at all. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. He has, by the way, got the armored caravans, which is making it a bit harder to get these kills. Yeah, this is where you wish they didn't revert or rather switch the trade options. Armored caravans used to give, I think it was 5 ranged and melee armor. Now it's just a measly 3. If he had golems, I mean, that's a big if. Deniskia, he was willing to negotiate away from camel archers to another shooty boy. You think he's going to go all the way to something that doesn't have a camel or a projectile weapon? What do you think of this man? I don't know if Lash realizes just how big his army is right now. I mean, he must be aware, right? He basically has purged to get to this point. This could be the kill and blow we're looking for. Alright, guys. Here's a question for you. Best anime for music. Which anime has the best soundtracks? Not talking like a one-off, like, you know, bangers after bangers after bangers. Mob Psycho. I don't think I've seen or listened to that one. FMA? Do you know what one I've got listed? Aldanoa. Aldanoa smashed it for me. Just sad because season 2 completely let down the anime as an anime. But Aldanoa has godly anime tracks. Attack on Titan has some really good ones. Everyone always goes for the having sex with the bees and eagles song, but I don't think that one's as good. The best one is the Get Back one. You know, it's on the scene where the princess is like, when I'm with you, I don't have to be afraid. And then she goes full combat mode. That's a banger. So Deniska has found his way into a decent number of hand cannons. Lash just... I feel like we're just not getting all the troopers in here. He has got his own HCs. He has got pyrotechnics. This should just be a slam dunk. Guilty Crown is also a banger. What was it, Beta, I think it's called? That song is incredible. Guilty Crown might be one of the prettiest animes I can ever think of. The story wasn't great, but the visuals were mind-blowing. And yeah, I don't know, season 1, I still love when they explain how they beat the plasma sword guy. It's like, when you take something super hot and accelerate the cooling process, it explodes. It's like, you almost feel as if you're watching a badass mecha anime while also being in a science class, you know? Does the center site ever get capped again? Oh no. I mean, it's being... Sure, it's going to get captured right now. I mean, Lash has got one monk running around somewhere. This does look cooked though. Like, I think Deniskia... The trade's about to get cut off. And once that happens, you have one pump of hand cannoneers and nothing else. Where are the bombards? Who needs bombards? We've got these little mini bombards. They're called hand cannoneers. And he's found the traders. Yeah, even with 155 HP, guys. Not enough. Oh, that's a tease right there. Where are you guys going? You come and you go and you don't even know. Look at Deniski's economy. Oh. And the rest of it's going down as well. That has to be it. Looks like it's going to be a 2-0 for Lash, which means he will be able to make it through for a matchup against Dimu. Interesting. Lash versus Dimu. I mean, Lash was able to make it deep last week. Dimu fell short. Not sure if it's going to happen again, but curious to see how it's going to play out. For Deniskia, an ambitious idea. Might I recommend, though, occasionally less camels. Just a few less, you know? Not like not abolishing camels. I don't like to ever use the word abolishing them. But maybe just like, you know, temperament and evolution, yada yada. Build something different. Because that was a lot of camels. Okay. Wait, Dumu's more ill? Oh no. It's cursed. Poor Benny boy. Bless him. Alright, so let's have a look here, guys. Drafts. Johan, how was your series against Rakbulo? That might be an interesting one. Do we have any live ones coming up? Let me see. Actually, Johan and Rakbulo might still be going on. I don't know. We got Mia Micah's series as well. Cat versus Hussein is coming up soon. Let's check in on Mia Micah's series. Just need to get the draft from them. Gonna get the draft. We're gonna do Mia Micah versus Anavaku. Good old Anavaku. So let me update everything. Let me open that. PC looks sick. Thank you, thank you. You guys see what I've got on it today? Oh, should I pull you a bit closer so you can see it? Check this. Had to get some Smash Bros in there. Yeah, went for a full red today. Because, you know, we are full red. We're team red. AMD, baby. It's the reason we're able to make the streams look so damn good. So, let me just check. Because me and Micah... Oh, he has a weird name. Not a weird name, actually. He's just put a tag on it now, hasn't he? Yeah, CDSG. Not sure what that org is. But sure, honey. So, let's go ahead. Me and Mike has been playing a bunch of mega randoms as well. What's that all about? Wait, did they have that series? Oh. Sorry, I misread the date. Mia Micah is tomorrow. So, we do have Kazi Johans for now, though. I could have sworn I had the other date on it. Because I'm just being a muppet. Yeah, no problem. We can do... Kazi Johan versus Rakbulo. Rakbulo was the guy who took a game off of... Was it Cat? He really surprised us last week. What was it? Myriad? No, I think he almost took the game off Myriad. Like, he actually had Myriad bent over a barrel, if I remember correctly. Let me check. Midweek Muster 11. So I remember being quite surprised by him, actually. I think it was in KPMM 10. Let me check. No. Okay, so he was in 11. Against Mio. I'm trying to remember what happened that game, because I definitely remember the name Rakbulo. But let's check in on this. So it's going to be Wilderness and Dry Arabia. And then, where is the Drafty Poo? I love how many people are still picking Wilderness. Seems like it was a good map. People like it. There were no hand cannons until the last 5 minutes. Pretty much. Yeah, like they were just all allergic to them for most of the game. It's quite comical. I mean, you can kind of understand why you didn't see hand cannoneers from Deniskia, I think. It's less understandable from Lash, per se. Because, like, he's king of hand cannoneers. His are better, right? So, opening game, English versus ABBA. Probably a good old Lombo Rush, right? I mean, Lombo Rush would probably make the most sense here. And we do have, so I was saying, what else do we have coming today? We've got Cat versus Hussein in about an hour and a half. And then I'm just checking because there might be another series I'm missing here. Oh, there's Numidan versus Red Darksider as well. So we've got a few series. Don't think it'll be like an insanely long stream today, but we'll see how things go. We'll open up with Kaiser Johan, and what is that? I feel like it's been quite a while since in a Conk free game I just see someone spamming all the farms straight away, but... Yeah, kind of interesting to go for the triple farm opening against Abba. I guess this is because he wants to keep his scout out longer, right? Because you know that the Abbasid scout's going to stay out because your opponent's going to be on berries. English versus Abba, though, on a map like this, I mean, it feels as if we're going to be looking at a Lombo rush. For Rank Willow to stop that, you're probably going to want to go into Military Wing, maybe? Like, I'm scratching my head on whether Millie Wing is the way you want to go against the old Lombo rush. It's been a while. Eco Wing feels way too greedy. And that is what, like Culture Wing? Sadly, this is not a map where you can trade Wing unless you want to get like 1 gold each way. What was the trajectory for this series as well? Okay, so winner of this will go up against either Kiljadi or Fluffy. It's not a very intimidating name, is it? You know, Fluffy. That's the genius of it, chat. By not sounding threatening, he's secretly threatening. What a genius. If you build market next to neutral market, it's still 1 gold. I'm pretty sure it would be decimal point. But remember, the front end UI will show like 1 gold or whatever, because it doesn't round down. Sorry, it rounds up or rounds down, right? Actually, I think it might be possible to have it show 0. Johan, don't go through this loop. We've been over this already. I still remember. Does anyone remember when a long time ago we theory crafted the Malian trade outpost loop, where you would still stupid. You would basically loop your traders around. So you'd basically have like a marketplace here. You'd have palisade walls everywhere. And you'd treat it like a dam system where you'd like open one way for them to go round. And then when they get round, you'd lock the gate and open this gate. So they go back through the starting. And then you lock this gate again and you'd open the other one. I still remember us spending like an hour and a half tinfoil hatting our way through that. Only to discover that the toll outposts are bugged anyway. So it didn't matter. Oh, that was a good time. That was a bloody good time. Actually got a map of small deers? Yes, there's only 12 deer in total. Already seen very positive praise about this map. I like it. I think it's really cool. Avali really hit it out of the park. I mean, we quickly bumped him and shout out to him for quickly altering the map because there was one small issue where the gold spawns were maybe a little bit weird. So what he done is he slightly decreased the number of ponds that spawn, and then that fixed the gold so they spread out a bit better. We still have some outliers like this though. This is a bit egregious. What I would say in its defense is like this is silly, but also let's not pretend that we don't get silly spawns on Dry Arabia as well. Use 1 more natural berries per side. It's pretty food stuffed. Is it really that food stuffed though? Because you have the ponds, right? The ponds are 1,500 each. And so a lot of these have like 2 patches of berry, right? It's so far away. You think that's far away? Like that right there? I don't know if it's crazy far away per se. You still have quite a lot of sheep to work with. Yeah, 15 versus 12 split between them. Also, Johan, why are you complaining about food? You're playing English. Your life is easy. You live a privileged existence, sir. Why do you think I picked English? I mean, dude, you should pick Byzantines. You don't watch Cat's games yesterday? That man will teach you a few things. Okay, so Council Hall build it was. Johan is going to be looking to rock across. Eco... Oh, no. This is too greedy, surely. Rapbulo, he's going to start building it. It's going to be, what, just on the tree line? He's playing fully condensed here. But this is just a good old classic Lombo Spearman Rush, right? I mean, it looks like it. Smells like it. Must be. Could this be a land map where Japanese is viable? Oh boy. You don't want to see the Lash versus Cat game from yesterday. All I'll see is no comment. It's probably better that way. I mean, Japan, like, they can be okay. But Japan in general kind of has its whole own bag of issues at the moment. Oh. An OP Shinobi map. True. You just need to catch someone that wants to build a dock on every single pond. I remember Killjadi was in here yesterday. He's like, is it dockable? I was like, it's always dockable. You can actually fit docks in these without deleting the fish. Yes. Because although they look too small, the overlap for where like you can actually build things is quite wide for where the water is. Willow, opening arches. Okay, I mean, this isn't the worst of ideas, per se. You definitely need scale. Kaiser Johan has gone to spears because clearly he was expecting the horseman opening. It's quite popular with the ABBA. Oh, you know what anime I haven't watched? I caught a clip of it, though, and I'm now very much intrigued. Jujutsu Kaisen. I've been waiting for it to go dub. That thing looks sick. I was also, by the way, very disappointed by the new Skeleton Crew. I haven't watched it, I've just heard it's bad. I saw the trailer, I was like, wow, there might be hope for this. I watched Dandadan? No. Is that its Japanese name? Does it have an English name? Dynamite, you don't have to worry about chop throughs. These trees don't get in the way. You can actually just build structures here. It doesn't block you at all. Culture better than military wing for Abba bow upgrade? No, I think he actually needs the extra health. I think military wing would just make sense. Eco wing just... I don't think it was necessary for 2TC. He's kind of left himself a lot weaker because of it. No one is going to be backing up here. With the Ragbulo's chasing, he needs to be very careful because he could have easily taken damage for no reason there. Wouldn't have been a good trade. Johan's going for a very aggressive timing though, folks. We have Steel Dagger in the way and Ragbulo doesn't even have Undermesh queued up. In fact, I think he really screwed up here. Look at the gold. Oh, this is rough. Right, he can't go for the other gold because it's so close by. What Ragbulo needs to do now is sneak to the south side because Lombos can't catch you there. You need Undermesh to play this now. I mean, Ragbulo is kind of weird that without access to blacksmith techs, he's trying to just ego chow mass archer and mass archer. I mean, he only has wood, right, with his TC drop. And he only has 9 sheep. I think you just have to take a risk. Walk out to the south side. You've got an 8 villager lead. Right? Punt it into the stratosphere. Go for the berries. Go for the gold. Seeing a home like this and scaling archers at a lower pace is not going to get you ahead. Undermesh Steel Dagger is just ridiculous. Like, remember, this is now 3 damage differential between the Lombo and the normal archers. Only upside right now is Ragbulo hasn't been exposed on this tree line, but as this progresses, what Johan could do is walk around with a scout, drop a campfire like right here, and then he'd be able to start seeing into these trees and killing villagers. So don't be surprised if he makes that move next. Instead, though, Johan is just going straight for the siege engineering. Saving all the food for the winter. I don't know, man. Ragbulo is just a bit too obsessed with building range units. It's like that American friend we have that has like 30 different guns in their home. Been cool, but probably nice to just, you know, take some of that gun money and buy yourself a nice cherry pie or something. Chiwei. But he's alone, though. Wait, Tim. I thought you'd have something else to shoot up with being a doctor, you know? Hide free stay was a mass. No. He's doing it. We haven't moved to the. No! No! This scout only recently came here, right? Johan didn't have it here this whole time. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, he's at least getting an outpost up, but you know how it is against longbows. You need 2. Meanwhile, Ram's getting moving on the archer range. Good guy Johan's like, I'm trying to help you. Stop building archers. It doesn't work. So villagers are going to start getting sniped. Might be able to get 2 kills here. Actually, it's free. 4. And we walk away. So Rakbulo, he's still 10 eco ahead. He has got the goal for Undermesh and Steeled Arrow. Bless. Finally, it is happening. However, Johan is now adding in men-at-arms. No boot camp either. These are bad exchanges right now for Rakbulo. He doesn't want to get pulled out like this, right? That's just the auto aggro. So I think Rakbulo went for a second TC at like 5 minutes into the game. I'm just not entirely sure anymore. That's true. Actually, the way you win this is you need to go Castle Age with Culture Wing, and then make sure you get to Imperial with the fast, cheap attack, so you can get public libraries. And then, with your 8 TCs producing villages, with, I can't remember how much health they get, it's ridiculous, right? It's like 80, 90 health. You can just strong arm everyone. Hell yeah. Now maybe your opponent is able to micro. Maybe he's able to pull away. Or maybe, just maybe, he A-clicks his fights and your villagers can win. What's this map? This is Oasis, man. This is the life. I love this map. Damn, I just remembered actually. I need to catch up on Demon Slayers. See, we're just in full anime brain mode today, aren't we? And I'm fine with that. It's a good brain mode. You still think it looks like a mini golf course? I don't see the problem with that. The only problem I see with it is all these pussies haven't even started course number 1. Look, Rakbulo. Oh. This is going to be one of those series, isn't it? Wow, very manly of you, Johan. Building all those little farms at home underneath your TC, not coming out. You must be so proud of yourself. Ooh. All right. Game 1 for Mr. Johan. Game 2... Wait, do we have a remake? I think we do. Let's get me into Wilderness. HRE versus Jean. And this is the map where I think we caught a game from Rakbulo where he actually done fairly well. So there's hope. A little bit. Tinsy tiny bit. Incy wincy bit of hope, maybe. HRE free win. Wow. Thank you, Mr. Skeptical. No, there's a way, guys. You just have to make sure you're ready to outpost rush. Jean, on this map, I mean, if you can get outpost up, look at how exposed the tree lines are. Oh my god, actually, look at this spawn. Yeah, if you're actually able to apply pressure, Johan has no wood. He's a woodless boy. His coffers will be as empty as my coffers. Why have you guys not subscribed? But Johan... Is he going to go for the racks opening? No, he's going straight out for the docks. It doesn't even try to just frustrate Rakbulo. Good choice there. The reality check is Jean can just come out and get the goal quite easily. She has 150 health. So the spamming damage just kind of tickles. Instead, just gonna go for very early greed. So, interesting thing about this map, by the way, fixed sheep spawns. I don't think that's been updated yet. I didn't get a chance to read before we go live, but I noticed Cavalli did drop some updates about some changes. Yeah, so, okay, here's the update. So, Wilderness, fixed for generations. Starting primary gold is allowed to spawn in a slightly larger angle. Starting forest spawns distance slightly reduced. This means you'll find it easy to place lumber camps inside your TC range. Ha 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 ha! You're a funny guy. Okay, I guess technically he's got this tree line here. What about the random? To keep it simple, think of it as a different type of resources placement in existing maps. So there's global resources, balance, and local resources. Global resources are often what you think of as random, and balance is somewhat like globals, but they place resources in between players in the fairest positions. And then what we have on this map is local resources. Local resources are hard-coded or hand-placed. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't realize there was that much customization to generated maps, actually. Yeah, and apparently many resources are in the local category in Wilderness. Some have large variations, sheep, forest, all-star resources. Others have small variations like the large gold, stone, neutral berries, and the beach golds. Yeah, I think also the terrain might be fixed, the base terrain on this map. So I don't think I've ever seen Wilderness start looking different than the cliff positionings and the coast. They're almost... No, I think not even almost. I think they are always exactly the same. Those woodlines are brutal versus knights? Yeah, but luckily for you, Johan, you don't have to worry about knights. Why do we have a Chamber of Commerce build? Oh, this is a little bit unexpected. In some matchups, this is pretty good because it forces your opponent out. But my worry is like Achery will come out anyway. Right? I think Achery is one of the civs that can directly contest Jean in Feudal Age if they want to. A lot of players will just play it safe and go castle, but reality check is with the marching drills and the superior economy, you can just stick it to your opponent. Just open a dock for that sweet 10 pop. Oof. True, and then invite all the family to stay there permanently. What's the map? This map is Wilderness. So it's one of Karyu's creations. He's been pretty busy on the grind, adding a lot of maps into the game. Ugh. So I was playing through... I finally got around to playing through Modern Warfare 3. And I've got to get it off my chest, chat. Possibly the worst campaign in the entire Call of Duty franchise. I'm torn. I'm kind of getting sad that developers don't bother to make full campaigns anymore. I have to start Black Ops 6, which looks a little bit better, but... I don't know. The reason why I was thinking of it is because we were recently talking about the campaigns in AoE4. I just feel like so many games nowadays are skimping on the quality of their campaigns entirely. Fingers crossed still that when we get the DLC, the new DLC, it's going to be like 4 campaigns. If it's 4 campaigns, oh my god, I'll give away 15 copies. Well, 5. I'm a cheapskate after all. But, you know, like, I think the cool thing as well to me is that the campaigns are probably the best environment for them to just have fun as developers testing random new mechanics, you know? Just add in loads of random new crap to try. And then based on people's desire or like of it or hate of it in the campaign, you can then adapt those very confidently into multiplayer mechanics. Been praying for more AoE4 campaigns. I mean, they have to at this stage, right? Because the reality is the system they set up isn't one that enables the modders to go and do it for them. So if the modders can't create these more interesting campaigns, developers have to. Knights were better. Look at Red Alert. Hell yeah. I mean, not you can go like 2000s. Red Alert 2 was good. I am still waiting for EA to just make the logical, easy win of remaking Red Alert 2. Like, as in just graphically updating it. I will buy the crap out of that. I will stream the crap out of that. Johan, now going to the racks. This is a very delayed racks, actually. 2 knights already in the field. He went for an outpost opener instead. The Archon is... I mean... It was going to be pretty depressing. He probably kind of limited the depression of it. Johan, has he actually scouted the traders? I don't think he has. Red Alert 2 with SC2 engine. An intriguing idea. There's already a remaster? No, there's a remaster of Red Alert 1. They're apparently working on Red Alert 2's remaster, but there isn't an actual existing Red Alert 2 remaster yet. Jean? It's like she's getting the XP on the piggies. Man, that was greedy as hell, actually. Doing back-to-back pigs with no break is really dangerous. He's quite lucky that Johan isn't coming out. Dawn of War remaster? Oh, man, you're speaking my language. You know, the campaigns in those games, especially Dawn of War 1, was really damn good. I'd love to see that in high def. But I kind of feel like I want them to do a proper remake. You know, not just a shoddy remake where it's like, let's slightly upgrade the graphics, but it's the same old engine. Just take it the whole way. I kind of hate when games only do the partial remake. You know, like, look what happened with Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 could have been so much more graphically polished. Dark Crusade campaign, to be specific. I don't know, man. I think I was maybe a bigger fan of Winter Assault. Winter Assault may have been the go-to campaign for me. Especially off the back of a Space Marine campaign. Like, wow, now I actually do care about these puny humans. Why does the ball not disappear off the map? So the way I understand it is like the icon disappears when you aggro-deaggro the ball. But because the ball wasn't de-aggroed, its icon still exists, basically. 40k's getting huge at the moment. Yeah, did you guys hear the rumors that we're going to be getting a Total War 40k game? I've got a weird feeling it might be a flop, kind of like Total War Empire Wars in a lot of people's eyes, but I'm intrigued. Nice now charging in, Rakulo. He's not really finding the damage yet. No dents. On top of that, I'm pretty sure Rakbulo has no clue that fishing is happening right underneath his nose. It might be about to get worse. I wouldn't be surprised if Johan tries for a second dot play. In fact, he's on his way right now. You never played a Total War game before, which would you start with? There's 2 lines of thought. There's either go straight in with Total War Warhammer, or you go in with Total War Shogun, I'd say. I think those are... some people would say Rome, right? But I feel like for the simplicity of like picking up the game, if you never cared for it before, there's something very elegantly simple and intuitive about Shogun. There's definitely some complicated systems, though. I think Rome 2 is probably not a good starting point, and Rome 1 looks too old. So like, yeah, I'd say Shogun 2's graphics holds up really well. Or you go in with Total War Warhammer. It depends what kind of gameplay you want. If you just want more historically accurate, or do you want the fantasy angle? Both of them are incredible games. Never tried Modern Attila. I remember Attila when it first came out was rated really badly though. Pharaoh's apparently turned into an okay game now, but it's too late. Tech up coming in, and it's too late for that as well. Rakbulo. Oh, the timing was just slightly off there. He could have killed a lot of villagers with that. He might be able to get a few still. Cleave does come out. Wait, what happened there with the villagers from Johan? Did they stop moving because they got hit by the cleave? Well, Jean has gone now anyway. Is 4 worker kills, so not bad for Rakbulo, but he's got bigger problems now, right? Lost a lot of the knights, a lot of the archers. Jean is dead. And your opponent is now going to be barreling for relics. Well, the 40k game that like I wanted to try, I still need to try. Like, there's the trader one, right? Apparently, the trader one's quite good. Rogue Trader. Bit of a small one, but I've heard people praise it. The 40k game that I actually really need to go buy and play already is Bolt Gun. Bolt Gun looks incredible. If you guys are fans of like old school Doom-esque games, just imagine playing Doom on an updated engine in the old school style, but in Warhammer 40k. That is bolt gun for you. Warhammer 40k bolt gun looks incredible. Okay, I'm gonna say something that might get me hated by like hardcore Warhammer fans, but we'll see. I kind of want to go back and play through Fire Warrior. Is that bad? I mean, Fire Warrior was regarded as a really big flop. People hated that game. I kind of just want to go back to it. I don't know. It's a weird feeling. It looks awful. What looks awful? What, like Fire Warrior? Warhammer 40k Fire Warrior was like, I don't know. I mean, I always liked Tau, you know. Graphically, it's probably not holding up now. I haven't looked at the graphics in a long time. But I had it on PS2. That was a dope game. Yo, actually, I just looked at a screenshot of it. I gotta give it to him. The guns still look clean in that graphical style. You're a Tau person? I'd say I'm more of a Space Marine. I don't mind Tau, though. I don't know, if I had to choose, what faction would I say I am in 40k? I'm probably Space Marines. Very generic of me, I know. The Tau is tight there as well. I used to be one of those filthy Tau guys on Soulstorm, the one War 1, that would build like 30 squads of scouts and then stealth and kill everyone on the map. And I regret nothing. Ragwillow might be regretting not getting that dive in earlier, though. I mean, he has at least teched up into Castle. In fairness, Johan actually hasn't got many relics so far. So busy judging me for my Tau ways, I should be judging him for his relic ways. How can you have 2 prelates and only 1 relic at 13 minutes in the game, huh? Huh? A Fire Warrior destroying whole Space Marine chapters, a planet, Chaos Space Marine chapter, and Greater Demons. Yeah, and they would have got away with it too if they just named him Caldor Draco. I really hope more than one person in the chat got that reference. Tower crap in Dawn of War 1? Well, yeah, if you don't kite, and you play against the highest level players. But boy, are they hilarious when you get a low ranking player. Why are all these units killing me so quickly? I don't know, if you consider just hitting them in the face. So Tau in Dawn of War is how range units should be in AoE 4. When someone hits them in the face, they shouldn't still be shooting you in return. They should be like, let me get my stabby tool out. Longbows even have an animation for that, or did. Tau fans are probably Gundam fans. I'm not like, I don't mind Gundam, I'm not crazy about it. Ooh, chat, that's what I need to do with this new PC. I had that on my list of things to play once I got like the new PC sword. I need to get Armored Core. Although what confuses me is like we're in the Lunar New Year. Armored Core is made by, actually, I guess From Software's Japanese developers, right? But it's in Asia, like, you know, appropriately themed. When's the discount coming in, please? You know what's going to kind of be weird is, actually, I just thought about this. What if it's the Lunar sale and Total War 3 Kingdoms isn't on? It is on sale. I still need to try 3 Kingdoms. Apparently, it's very complex. Some people say in a likable way, others say in a monotonous way. Haven't played Armored Core? No, I haven't played the Rubicon one. Because, like, it's one of those games I looked at, I was like, well, I'm going to enjoy that in the best quality, right? Like, I'm going to start, like, basically, we should hopefully have a new monitor coming soon. And when I've got that, I'm going to finally play Cyberpunk. Hell yeah. Oh my, hell yeah. Yo, Ragbulo, I've been waiting for the move to be made, and that's a big one. Hey, Johan, you might want to actually get some wheelbarrows to carry those corpses to the cemetery. What a hit. I mean, Ragbulo, the crazy part, right, is like, you're seeing them neck and neck. That's because Johan still has the fishing, but losing the villagers definitely feels a lot more painful here. Knight's gonna get wiped out. Still got 9 at home. Has got the walls coming up. Alright, guys. If you had to guess Rakbullo's rank, what rank would you say he is? Get some guesses. I warned you about this guy. So, this guy is actually a Conk 1. He's only played 23 games. He usually comes in at Conk 1. He's actually ranked 150th on team rank for the season, though. He always ranks highly, actually, in that regard. Season 8 was 111th, Season 7 was 90th. He's a very capable player. Wonder how many people would have kind of written him off going into this one, especially after Game 1. Like, Game 2 is looking a lot more impressive. I think it makes sense as well. If you think about team players, the way he tried to play Game 1 makes sense from a team player POV. It was very classic Abbasid want TCs, like you'd see in a team game when someone builds 5 or 6 of them, right? Game 2 is also very classic team game player, right? When you play Jean or French, your goal is just build a lot of knights and just look for the raid points. Oh yeah, what Space Marine chapter was it in the Fire Warrior game? I'm trying to remember now. Was it the Blood Angels? I can't remember if it's Blood Angels. Oh no, it was Ultramarines, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry, Ultramarines were in it. I can't remember what the Chaos faction was, though. The Chaos faction was definitely, I think, red. So, good raids initially from Rakbullo, but he has kind of slowed down, and now I'm a bit worried, because that's a lot of knights from Johan. 1,000 Suns? Was it really 1,000 Suns? I feel like it's always 1,000 Suns. 1,000 Suns feel like they're overused in these games. Actually looking for it now. Well, it looks like it's one of the ones that follows Zinch, at least. It's the Word Bearers. There you go. Yeah. Makes sense. Although it does feel like they use Zinch a lot in the games that have been made historically for Warhammer. Some people right now are like, what is Warhammer? We will educate you, don't worry, my friends. Sean, level 3 coming in. Where's the other trio, though? It looks like they actually didn't come through. Rakbullo, a bit of a miss micro there. This isn't looking good. He's just kind of getting outscaled. Johan, I mean, you got 3 relics home with ranks in the end. Income was looking good to try and make a conversion into Imperial. Now using Nurgle a lot? Wait, what are they using Nurgle in? Maybe the smaller Warhammer games, I guess? Okay, you know what is pretty dope? Gotta give it to him. Noise Marines. Noise Marines are always a Keck W. For those who don't know, Noise Marines, probably what it sounds like, they basically beat people by using very loud noises. You're a supporter of more Slanesh? I feel like Slanesh is the... If you use Slanesh in your game, you're probably upping your rating. You're probably already going to do it with a Warhammer game, but you're definitely upping your like age rating if you use Slanesh. Have you seen the new releases? I mean, I played Space Marines too. I played through it over the holidays. I love it. I'm really hyped for Space Marines 3. They were asking recently on Twitter what people would like to see. Like, what's the new faction people would like to see? And I don't know if they're like we're gonna have to wait that long for it to be sooner. But like, someone like Necron came to mind. I thought would be really cool. Necron, I think, would be the cool one because you want someone that's gonna have a mixture of melee and ranged, and there's just There's other factions that would be too ranged. Like Tau, I don't think would work for a Space Marines game. Anyway. Rakbula looks pretty dead here, guys. I don't really see what the game strat is to get back in this. He lost too many knights and he stopped raiding. I think the lesson learned here for Rakbula is he just needed to keep the pressure up. When he was raiding, this game looked like it was in his hands. It was pretty much his to win or lose. But the moment he kind of slowed down, tried to turn it into an economical war, you're not going to win that against HRE. Especially after you fail to block the relics. Alright, what's people's most hated character in Warhammer 40k? There's probably an obvious one that comes to mind for a lot of people. There it is. I knew it straight away. Yeah, people do not like Erebus. I mean, it's understandable. He's like the most mustachio guy imaginable. I guess the thing I'd say is like it's a good type of hated person, you know what I mean, right? Like the thing I say about Erebus is he's like so maniacal, but like at least he owns the maniacalness. I've at least got to give him that. Yeah, douchebag's just responsible for everything. Yeah, Lucius I feel like has been a growing one though. Like I think the thing people hate about Lucius, and guys, if you don't know Warhammer 40k, I recommend wholeheartedly. I don't care if you're like a historical nerd, you should go look at Warhammer 40k. Warhammer 40k is the best fictional universe created. It's the best. I don't care. Like I'll tackle Lord of the Rings fans on this. I really will. I don't care. It's that good. It's that expansive now. There's something for everyone. But Lucius, the problem with Lucius, I think people just hate the fact he never dies. Don't worry, folks. There's no Lucius to be had here. GG gets called. It is going to be a 2-0. So Kaz Johan will be proceeding through. He'll be going up against either Kiljadi or Fluffy. Oh, that's a nice name, isn't it? Probably going to be less fluffy and more bloody by the end of that series. But who knows? Maybe we'll be able to upset against Kiljadi. Best starter book? So I don't read as many of the books. I'm one of those Wikipedia people. I love just reading through pages and pages of Wikipedia on Warhammer 40k. I imagine we have a few book readers that could recommend you. The most obvious ones to start with for a lot of people will be the Horus Heresy books. Right? The Horus Heresy really set the foundation for everything that's happening today in Warhammer 40k. It's a great starting point and really well-written books. There's some small pet peeves. I know some people have a Warhammer 40k over like certain characters that they shoehorn in, but for the most, they're a solid series of books. I still love to this day that the developers, like Relic, when they developed Dawn of War and they made their own faction called Blood Ravens, they even managed to release a trilogy of books about them as well. That's quite interesting to see, like developers getting that much integration into their overarching world. What's everyone's favorite chapters from 40k? All right. So type 1 and say your favorite faction, and then type 2 and try to guess my favorite faction. My favorite chapter of Space Marines. Curious where everyone would peg me. All right, let me have a look. Do we have another series available now? I think there was another series. I'm trying to think which one it was. Oh, there was the... Kat and Hossein are coming up soon. There's Numu versus Red Darksider we can have a look at. Chaos or Loyalist? Ooh, Johans is getting dug in deep. Loyalist, of course. Not a filthy traitor. How dare you even imply? So, let me get... 1 second. Where's the draft? See, it's disappeared on me. Dry Arabia Wilderness. Dude, so many wilderness picks. People love this map, apparently. I think Wilderness has been a resounding success. Like, for people who complain about us changing the maps, I mean, dude, this is why we do it, because you get gems like this. People seem to love that map. So, we'll check on Numu. Game 1, it's going to be Oasis Roos versus Malian. So, Red Darkside has taken the temptation. He's nibbled into the apple. Gone for the Roos. An Iron Fist type. Iron Fist is... Wait, really? Iron Fist, not Imperial Fist. You would have been closer with Imperial Fists, if I'm being totally honest. Rogel Dawn did have his cool moments when he wasn't being a crybaby emo kid about daddy dying. But let's hop in the game. I'll have a look for your answers. Dark Angels, Dark Angels. Okay, I will say Dark Angels has been growing on me recently. I think it's the cloak and daggery nature of them. But so we have salamanders or plague bearers. A lot of people thinking Dark Angels. I'm gonna have to disappoint all of you. Sometimes I don't know entirely why. It's not a good beginning for explaining and justifying your chapter choice. But I've always been an Ultramarine guy. Which I guess is like not very believable because I come across as probably quite a chaotic person. Not Chaos Space Marines, but like chaotic as in... I can see the Salamander for the crazy shenanigans. Ultramars must have fans. I mean, Ultramarines are... I think Ultramarines still get a bad rap. They're kind of in a reasonable place ever since... What was his name? Was it Matt something? I forget his name. The terrible writer who like ruined it all. Since he's been turfed out, Ultramarines is a lot more reasonable and balanced. But there was a time where you just wouldn't admit that you liked Ultramarines because, yeah, there was a writer who was basically making them the goody two-shoes of everything. Yeah, it was Matt Ward, I thought so, yeah. Yeah, Matt Ward, he was responsible for a lot of the curse of things because he was also the person who wrote in Khaldor Drago, right? Who is one of the most perplexingly broken characters in Warhammer history. That they had a cool balance logic for, but his whole driving narrative was just bad. The only way I can describe the way that he was written is it's like when an 8-year-old tries to write you a story. It's like, and he kissed the maid and he beat the big villain and they all lived happily ever. It's very weird. If you guys haven't looked up Khaldor Drago, I at least recommend it. It's a cool concept of a character that's so OP that he can only appear when the entirety of humanity is at risk, right? But once again, they gave him no soul, as in no like character, no interest in development. It was just genuinely like a writer had jizzed all over the pages to make himself feel better. In current meta, they make Chaos weak, make every Chaos god God of Intrigue before Khorne follows. Wait, what are we talking about here? Anyway, we do have Malians actually up against the Roos. Kind of an interesting choice here. Curious to see what kind of build Nimadan goes for, because we've been so used to seeing Malians just doing pro scouts everywhere, but this is not a pro scouting map. There's only 12 deer on here. For Roos, it should just be an obnoxious fast castle. I mean, he could pull the boar, actually, guys. He can get the boar, like, what? Here? So you could probably actually drop the hunting cabin on the berries, per se. And that should be enough. It's going to be a bit weird, though. Just fast casting to go horse archers for Numu. Feels like it should be a favorable matchup for him just to scale javelins, right? And gradually go Castle Age. I wonder if this is a game where Red Darksider could go old school. Go for a 2TC meta. That used to be really good for the Roos, and it's always felt historically good against Malians. Oh, yeah. I love that about Khorne, by the way. So, like, the thing with Chaos Gods, the thing that's very intriguing is, like, you see the bad, but they're actually good and bad. So, Khorne, it's not about just blood and violence. It's also about honor. There's a whole thing where that's why Khorne followers aren't allowed to use magic. It's also why if a Khorne follower was to attack an unarmed child or woman, they'd pretty much spontaneously combust. I don't know, man. I love all the quirky details of Warhammer 40k. There's just so many layers to the cake. It's incredible. Then you've got like, I forget his name. You've basically got a Necron who is more or less a Pokemon trainer. It feels like anyway. Basically, what Trazen, right? Like what Trazen does is he basically just captures people and freezes them in his collection. And if you look at Necrons, he's so out of place, but so well written that you just love it. Which games were casted so far? We did catch the second game of Lash versus Deniska, which was intriguing. And then, well, what else have we had so far today, chat? Starflark versus Dragavan. I think Dragavan played really, really impressively well in that series. Starflark, you know, I think whoever won that needed to do so in a dominant fashion to stand a chance against Anatan. So probably the opening series, yeah, would be a good... Well, like, Necrons have a very intriguing kind of internal conflict now, right? Because you've got a faction that pretty much wants to go back to being fleshies, and another faction that thinks all fleshies should be, like, purged from the universe. I don't know, I think there's a lot of well-written sub-faction storylines within Warhammer 40k right now. But yeah, it's like, so the original question, yeah, Space Marines, it's probably Ultramarines. Dark Angels has been grown on me. I think the Wolf Boys are overrated. Sorry, Wolf lovers. I don't know, I just think... If I'd been obsessed with it... Well, actually, I kind of was semi-obsessed when I was a kid, but like truly obsessed. I imagine as a kid, I would have been a Wolf Boy. Just because I think most kids would see Space Wolves and think they're the most badass. But as an adult, I think the initial appeal falls off a bit, you know? Don't get me wrong. Layman Russ is a complete badass, sure, but still. Why do tree lines around the ponds shows faded? Because they aren't fully fleshed, so you can basically build into them. So you could build a hunting cabin here, for example. Like, right here. Yeah, he placed the hunting cabin. Look at that. 29 trees already. This is what I was expecting out of the roost. I'm surprised it took this long for him to come out. I would have rushed out straight away. I mean, he didn't wait for wheelbarrow, so there wasn't really a reason to wait at all. So he could come out here and place a hunting cabin and get, you know, like probably 20 trees in range and be fishing. It's really, really powerful. We do have the knights, so he's just trying to keep Numendan contained. Numu, what's the plan here? It should just be to ranch up like crazy, right? Some Necrons want to be turned like Arikan or Stormlord. They are old Necrons. Yes. Basically, yeah, so like the funny part is the guy who's responsible for turning them all into Necrons kind of wants to turn them back. I do kind of wonder if they'll ever try and add another new faction to Warhammer 40k. They have such a good breadth. I'm not really sure what there's left to really build into. It was kind of lucky the way they were able to sliver Tyranids in there as well, if you think about it. Where Tyranids was pretty much a, hey, we came from a completely different, like, universe. I think instead what you'll probably see from Warhammer 40k is they'll be more focused on bolstering the sub-factions within the main, right? Like, that's what they've recently done with Custodes, where they made Custodes from just being a different type of Space Marine into a, like, Giga Chad that can take on a crap ton of Space Marines. I have been wondering if they were eventually going to bring back the Space Dwarfs in full force. I think they have. They did recently, like, basically say they're called Squigs, basically, chat. Squigs are Space Dwarfs in Warhammer 40k. Not Squigs, sorry. Squigs is the freaking orc thing. What they called? I can't remember the name they gave them. They had a name for Space Dwarfs, and they removed them because the problem was they were worried it was becoming too fantasy-esque. But there has been rumors about Warhammer 40k bringing back the Space Dwarfs faction. Rangdan coming back. Wait, I don't think I've read up on Rangdan. No, I don't think I've heard of these before. Oh, no, I'm not talking about Age of Sigmar. I don't care about the crap. You kidding me? Just as soon as I'm getting invested, truly invested in the Warhammer 40k fantasy world, they blow it up. I take my chances with 40k fans. Oh, you mean Chaos Dwarves for, like, Warhammer? Would it be so bad if we got a new, like, Chaos sub-faction because the Tau did actually create a new god? So, Red Darksider, like, going Knight's Archer is not the worst idea. He still needs to find his way to Castle. This is clearly coming, right? So you either commit fully to dive, or you need to start skilling Eco or Age. Right now, it just kind of feels like he's poking, but not committing. It's always difficult against Marlians, man. Like, these type of all-ins very rarely work. Because for Marlian defenses, it's just so organic. Javelin plus Donzos means every single point of production that you go into is going to hit your enemy before they can touch you. Chaos Leagues of Votange. Oh, is that what they... Ah, okay. I hadn't noticed these. Interesting. Yeah, so that's the squats. Yeah, sorry, squats is what I meant, not squigs. Because they used to have squats in, but they weren't chaos-oriented, were they? Right? They were just Space Dwarves. Those that wonder why did they get rid of Space Dwarves, they sound awesome. It's because there was a growing concern at the time for Games Workshop that they didn't want Warhammer 40k to just be fantasy, like reprint, right? Because they already have humans, they already have space elves with the Eldar. So they were like, okay, we kind of want to actually make this its own thing. I still also, just to this day, love the Catan's demise was pretty much them just sticking giant straws in each other and sucking it up. Yeah, I think I always like the Deceiver storyline of like who the Deceiver really is, right? Because there's theories that he's the laughing god of the Eldar, and there's theories that he might even be a different god from a different faction entirely. Camion, mate, you need to expose yourself to Warhammer 40k. We are talking about Warhammer 40k. It is incredible. It is a delight and a treat, and it is worth the investment of time to learn about. Especially considering it seems it's just growing and growing right now. So, Nimmu's just been chilling, right? Like, we haven't really seen Red Darksider crack the egg. He has at least chosen to go for the high trade house, though. Tricky part is Nimmu's army's really big. He could actually rush you with this. I think the best thing you can do if you're Red Darksider is you want to position your knights on the flanks and wait for the dive op. Because your opponent will try to dive you. It's going to be very hard for you to hold him back with just a handful of knights anyway. You might as well have them barreling into the enemy base while you prep Raxes at home. And in fact, he does already have the Raxes coming in, so he's aware that this is a necessary step. I just don't like these keeping these guys here. They're not really slowing anything down. You can see Numi's pretty much just bluntly walking towards him. Tech out complete. This should be where we'll see Numi start to save the tech. We'll get an opportunity to snipe here. Red Darksider not moving away with the villagers. Look to shuffle back and get into safety, but with this many Donzos, that's an easy burn through. So Wooden Fortress going to be going down. That's going to be a total of 8 workers dead. Numu not far behind in the tech timing either. Yeah, we had like a very pleasant day of like side discussion. I quite like it. You know how earlier I was talking about how Call of Duty ruined its campaign? That's another problem, is games as a service, where it really ruined that campaign, is they basically tried to integrate what they've been doing with like the online seasons. I hate that crap. Makes no sense. I'm a big believer in games as a service where it makes sense. But I will bluntly say I think games as a service needs to semi-die. It's an overdone, overbloated part of the gaming industry right now. And it's hurt the industry a lot more than it's helped now. And opening that forest, covering that pond, once again, you can just build them wherever. You can just, like, genuinely, any slot here. Open up the map, open up the game, have a look at oases. You can just place them anywhere around there. That's what I like about it so much. It's a very, very unique approach. If this had just been you need to chop through to get here, I wouldn't have used this map. It would have been pointless. Avely found a very cool and creative approach. Is there any law that connects fantasy to 40k? So there was a belief for a long time that fantasy existed somewhere in the Eye of Terror in 40k. Yes. Because there's overlapping theories, right? Like, there are certain creatures that appear in both 40k and fantasy. There's also the overlap of the gods. So there's a bunch of variables. I mean, this is the class I was worried about for Red Darksider, right? Like, these knights aren't doing anything. If they were on the other side of the map, Numu would be panicking right now. Instead, just gets to keep barreling towards him, and Red Darksider is just trickling out troops to die. Like, one by one is not how you want to play these men-at-arms here. Looks like he's going to try to A-click in now with the knights. There's not many archers left. The Donzos surely should be able to stabilize this. Shuffles them across. Starts targeting in. Jabs have cleared up all the archers. Second wave of Donzos coming in. He actually held a bunch in reserve here. Chasing down the villagers. Yeah, this is looking less than ideal right now. We even have Numu adding in the Musafadi. He's aged up. He's got the Fulani effect. The flood begins, right? And Red Darksider doesn't really have anything to show for it. He lost several villages. He's got a high trade house that's at least giving 149 gold. Great. But he doesn't have relics coming home. Doesn't have 2 TC play. This is just going to be a Zerg. So, looks like an opening game win for Numu. I mean, Red Darksider at this point is processing the very obvious loss, right? Like, you can't be this many villages behind with no existing army. Yeah, lesson for him. It's a tricky matchup, I think, when you feel like you have to press, right? Like, with Pro Scouts not being there, I think it tends to favor Malians more. So you have to go with the 2 TC. If you want to play this Knight strat into Fast Castle, you need to make sure you're just raiding. I think that's the mistake he made, is Red Darksider acted like you could take a direct fight, which is just fooling yourself, really. A lot of gold, but no blacksmiths. True. I think his issues go a lot deeper than blacksmith decks, though. It's just fundamentally the small window he had, he didn't use his units to do anything. And credit to Numu, right? Like, he didn't do that thing that some Malian players would do, where they're like, oh, I will just hunker down now and go castle. No, he sniffed the weakness out and chased it. In fact, if someone was seeing more out of Malians recently, is this understanding that when their opponent's fast tech, you can roll over their base very easily. So, game 1 win for Numu. He's still got a pretty strong draft overall, right? Like, HRE to still pick with. Delhi as well. I guess we're probably going Wilderness. Red Darksider is probably thinking English, in which case Numu goes... what, HRE? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's going to be Wilderness. He actually goes to the Mongols. Okay. I mean, you can't outpost rush, but what you can do as Mongols here is usually you feel quite safe to just play for the docks. And English Longbow rushes can't block your base and block dock, right? So you kind of have to choose your poison. Let me flip that. But yeah, so I asked you guys who your most hated character was from Warhammer 40k, right? Mine's actually related to the games. I can't not hate him. Leandros is the biggest douchebag going. They done a good job of creating a character that everyone could universally hate there. When dealing with large disparities in skill, how close does the lesser skilled players have to be to actually get something out of it? Like a gold free against a conk free. It's a very fair point. I'm glad you brought this up, because I think I've talked about this in different games before, right? Is like a perfect example is when someone's like, oh, I need to go into a lower ranked account so I can test this new thing. It doesn't hold up. And also the whole logic is sometimes smurfing gets defended as like, oh, these people should be honored that they get to play against, Dendy or Beastie or Grubby, because they learn something that you don't. Because you don't know what you're learning. It's disorienting, right? So there is an argument that you have to really process what you're doing. And you have to kind of review it to understand it if the gap is too big. So I'd say, like, if you're talking about Conk versus Gold, you're probably not going to learn much. Diamond versus Conk can learn a decent amount. Even, I'd say, Plat can learn a reasonable amount. But the biggest problem isn't necessarily the skill gap. It's understanding the point of the game at which you've just basically missed too much information, right? These games aren't linear in their nature. And what I mean by that is as a game expands into the deeper phases, you can't just equate X to Y all the time. It's not like I lose one villager at 2 minutes. It's the same as losing a villager at 10 minutes, right? So to that end, really, when you're looking for what you can learn as a low-ranking player, in some ways, someone just mercy killing you out at 15 minutes is actually beneficial. Because if you had a 40-minute game against them instead, you're actually doing the reverse of learning. You're getting way too much information. You don't even know what's right or wrong, right? So I look at it a different way. Not as much the skill gap difference means I can't learn anything. It's the length of a game that might mean you can't learn anything. If you're Gold going against a Conk, what you want to do is, when the game is complete, you want to review the first 5 to 8 minutes and no more of it. Because everything past that point is a fallacy, right? Like, you already reached a true point of suboptimal gameplay that early on. So any lessons that the 15, 20, 25 minute, however long it is, could impart on you is worthless. Because the mistakes you've made to get to that stage could be so severe that the lessons aren't worth learning versus improving the early phase. Does that make sense? I hope that was easy to follow. It's like a complicated... It's kind of semi-complicated to like digest with your brain, but in a way, it's also kind of straightforward, right? It's the logic of like an optimal build order and following it. It's also the biggest thing for people to improve their ranks is to actually sit down and assess why you do something, right? Ask questions. Why this? Why that? That's why I always answer you guys when you do these things in chat. One, because I love interacting. It's the thing that makes live streaming different than just to record a video. But it's also because that's how you really learn. Someone, like, you going and watching, say, one of the top players, let's say Voldemar's put up a build order, or Beast's going to put a build order, or Dimu's going to put a build order, or Marino's going to put a build order. If they just put your build order on a sheet, and that's it, that's useless to you, right? What you need is to understand why. It's the same logic as, like, I could give you the answers to the test, or you can learn why they're the answers to the test, right? Same logic applies there. Like, a lot of people blindly follow build orders. I shouldn't be telling this secret as a content creator. I mean, I don't make build orders, so it doesn't hurt me. But, like, a lot of you will go and watch these build orders and follow them, and they don't help you at all versus learning. This is very big for me when I play Dota 2. When I start with Dota 2, it's very comfortable and natural to begin just by opening a build and following the build. The build isn't appropriate in all situations, and the build doesn't teach you why you do things. You have to teach yourself that. You have to ask the deeper questions. So, for example, why is Red Darksider going on fish instead of building farms? Farms will be forever. Well, it's very obvious now when you think about it. Like, going for the fish now means you're not adding in the farms, means you have economy to add in the horsemen instead, right? So, same logic behind, like, fast casting English. Why don't I just add in farms to last longer? Because timing matters in a game. So getting the white tower up 1 minute earlier is a drastic difference, right? Same logic as, like, when sometimes we see someone adding Keshiks and then immediately follow up archers. Like, the logic there is obviously the spears behind it, but the real backbone when you explore it deeper is for Mongols to drag and benefit from a feudal age the most. Archers is one of the most efficient things to scale because you get blob quicker, and then when you go for castle age, you can go Kortai, right? Which is going to be a substantially bigger buff to a massive archers than, say, a massive Keshiks, because the way they fight. Like, what I've done is just extract a bunch of kind of like tidbit details that maybe are kind of overwhelmed to just take one by one by one by one. But like I'm using them as examples of how like asking the whys, exploring the deeper questions helps you improve as a player. And you know what? That helps us improve as a streamer. Thank you very much, Just Frags. Appreciate the 10 gifted subs, you absolute legend. I expect at least half those people who just got subs, you got to start using KBigPog in chat now as a sign of respect for the man who just gave you the most valuable sub you will have this month. Appreciate you, buddy. And he even adds a sub for himself in at the end. Thank you much, mate. Appreciate you. Never thought it in terms like that, but it makes sense. I'm glad it does make sense. You really hate build orders because even when we're trying to find... Yeah, so this is like the other thing that I'm dreading is like... So for those who don't know, we have an agreement that I'll do a road to conk if we hit 750 average viewers for a month. I'm dreading doing that, by the way. The part that I'm dreading isn't the winning and losing or like the vulnerability of those things. It's not even my own perfectionist element. It's that I can't be asked to open a build order. I don't like the, you know, the overthinking of where you put your villages per se. That's not, there's loads of things that appeal to me in RTS. But like the opening minutes of like you should have 4 on food and then 2 on wood and then 3 on gold at X minutes. That part has never deeply appealed to me. As much as I theorycraft and like a lot, like there's a lot of other things I like doing, the mind games, the options, etc. The interactions along the way. But yeah, the opening build orders have always been the resident sleeper part to me. I know some people drink that crap up. That's why I'm like, can you tell me how many people he's got in gold right now? I'm like, sure. And I respect that some people deeply appreciate that. For me, man, I don't know. I think I'm just like whoop, whoop, whoop all over the place. There's too many fun things I want to do to think about, you know, the sugar, spice, and a little bit of something nice with exact measurements. I just want the sugar and spice. It's like that person who cooks by roughly sprinkling out what they need and spices, and the person who actually like has a scale and is measuring specifically, you know? 7 free food kind of works every time. There you go. The cookie got a solution. It's like funny because, you know, within that, I find myself to be an experimental person where I should kind of care to a certain degree. But it's like the experimental style I like to take is the overall arcing macro philosophy, not macro economy, macro strategy. And that's kind of been like true with Dota 2, right? For years, it's like I'd always come up with these new crazy builds and find ways to implement them. And the reason it worked very well for me in that environment is like compared to AoE4 where you have randomness, but also a lot of reliability in the way things spawn and exist. In a game like Dota 2, you know, game to game, the start of your lane is completely different. Everything is completely different. So my chaos theory approach kind of just worked better for that environment. We'll see how well it works if we do get to 750 average viewers and get that Road to Conquer series going. Build orders just provide efficiency, but not much strategy in the game. SC2, though, build orders are way more precise. I think there's a fair point there. Like, what you can do with 1 minute in SC2 to end a game is drastically higher than I'd say what you can do with 1 minute in AoE4 to end the game. Right? The pacing is... The pacing, I've talked about this before, AoE4's pacing is a lot more casual friendly. A lot more casual friendly. The weird part I find a bit polarizing sometimes is that it's not as much that when you make a mistake you can't be punished, but sometimes when you make a mistake, there's a trigger delay to you getting punished that almost feels like, okay, just get it over with. You know what I mean? Right? Like we've seen it before where someone like does something wrong with their villages and they're being chased by knights. It's like, okay, just get it over with. Instead, they just have to do this weird kind of dance in the corner, delaying everything. Same logic, I think the classic one I like to use is like, say I was raiding my Keshix and I snuck in like past you, right? Let's say you're standing here and I rotate here, but you move too late. You moving too late means now in 10 seconds I'm in. But the reality is, like, you've already moved too late anyway. So it's almost like we've exhausted the point of punishment instead of just punishing. Does that make sense? It's very polarizing sometimes with AoE. But I think part of the design philosophy with that is it gives you time to process what you've done wrong. It's just annoying because if you know straight away what you've done wrong, the game is now, it kind of feels like the game is just rubbing it in. It's staring at you and going, haha, you shouldn't have done that. Now in 15 more seconds, something's going to happen to you. So I guess like it can feel a bit polarizing, whereas like StarCraft 2 is like, oh, you let them in. Oh, and now, yeah, you're immediately losing things for it. Shame on you. Once again, it comes back to pacing. Time to kill in SC2 changes things as well. Yep. Like, sometimes I feel AoE4's time to kill is just a bit lacking in certain conflicts. But I get why it is. I do wonder if people would enjoy it if like every single unit's bonus damage got doubled. I like that. So we talked about the idea of cool mutators, temporary limited time game modes that would be intriguing to explore. That would be intriguing to explore because it's kind of wacky when you watch Order of the Dragon for that reason. Right? What we're talking about is giving every unit kind of an Order of the Dragon effect. Anyway, Red Darksider is coming out for the docks now. He's going to be able to burn them down. Numa already has an extra backup one, and the archers are here, but this is going to get cleared. I like the idea from Red Darksider. He basically went for a classic Mass Horseman Abbey of Kings build. The problem is he didn't raid. I don't think this works if you don't raid. Now he's at risk on the direct engagement. Spearmen, archers come in. Red Darksider doesn't have longbows at all. Yeah, this is tricky. I like what Red Darksider was thinking. I just don't like what he'd done with it. He got blocked out in the early raids, right? And then just never found any damage. And that's the problem. When you mass horsemen like this, the whole idea is you're meant to be able to poke, raid, back away, heal. We never really got that. Right? He hasn't killed any workers. Now, Krultai coming in. He's looking pretty dead. But he got the Khan! Yeah. I think TTK is fine this game. Some matchups TTK is fine. Some matchups they're not, right? It's like I think the most obtuse example is like watching men-at-arms fight, right? Especially like English armor-clad men-at-arms. Like, oh my god, nothing is happening. Someone die. I get where you're going on with some. But like, yeah, the input... I think the thing I've highlighted over, say, TTKs from like stat inflation, I would rather just have a simulation speed increaser. To this day, I'd love to see a simulation speed increaser. Because we done those free-for-alls, right, with the 1.25x speed, and I think it was incredible. The early game just passed so much quicker. You got to things that matter. It felt intense, you know? It felt like if someone wasn't paying attention, you could actually really punish them for it, which I think is correct. About lowering base damage, relying more on bonus? Yeah, so like we're pretty much then going harder into an Age of Mythology style of approach. The tricky part is I think Age of Myth has its own issues around, say, things like cavalry with that approach that is historically haunted it, right? Same with ranged cavalry. Historically has haunted it. So like, you know, you think, this is the thing, you think that like putting all the damage into bonus makes sense, but then people find loopholes. And sometimes those loopholes are so fundamentally flawed, you can't just patch, right? You can't just fix them by changing the damage increments by 1. Speaking of AOM, what they need is a time to end the game. Dude, speaking of AOM, what they really need is just AOM 2. Stand by my previous statements on this. If they just released AOM 2, jackpot. What's up? Less stress. Thank you, mate. Have a great evening too. So Kurtai's unpacking. Numu so far has been kind of playing with his food. This is kill point. Red Darksider is stuck with a feudal army against Vet Kesh. And there's enough veteran Keshiks to beat everything on their own, even if the archers weren't here. And this is the thing. Kurtai is just such a decisive landmark. If you have an advantage, you can just end the game like that. So The red dark side up. Pull one out for him. Different opponent for him this week. I don't think he had Numa last week. But it will be a 2-0 demise. But I'm sure he's taking lessons from these, right? Seeing where he could change. Like, the idea of this horseman strategy, I said I liked it. I just don't like that he wasn't able to do anything with it. Felt a little bit too static. 2-0 victory for Numu. Means that he is going to be heading on through into the round of 16, where we'll match up against either Myriad or Keyrun. Okay. I think that's all series that are available right now. I know Hussein versus Cat starts in like 10 or 15 minutes, but I have got to eat. And I feel like I might have a short one today. It's a rare thing, actually, because I feel like most days we're doing 6+ hours. I just don't want to overly burn myself. I feel like I burnt myself out yesterday. I don't want to always chase the number, but obviously, like, I'm trying to get the number higher so we can bring sponsors. And then I was like, oh, we'll keep going. And I think most people just didn't. I mean, I appreciate that people did watch, but like, a lot of people was like, oh, we've seen the grand finals now, that's it. So I'm trying to like now rebalance my mind where I don't go, oh my god, we need to be live longer than is necessary. And then just look for the organic growth, right? In some ways, you could argue being live less is better because then people are like going to be more rapido on it, making sure they turn up as soon as possible. So with that in mind, YouTube, I'm going to love you and leave you. YouTube will be back on Monday. Monday, we usually go live about 1 p.m. CET, 1:30 CET, around there. Check in, we should be live. Maximum, it'll be 2 p.m. CET at the latest. We'll be live with the round of 16. Should be fun. We've got a lot coming up. We're going to have things like Dragoman versus Anatan by then. Dimu up against Lash is going to be a fun one. We have a bunch that still need to actually be resolved, you can see by there. Likely we're looking at Mia Micah versus Kat, unless Hussein can pull out a crazy one. Or an Anavaku as well, because Anavaku, Mia Micah plays tomorrow.